Hey, my name is Walt, and I am one of the head lead monkeys over at Hazard Studio, the producer of the role-playing game SUPERS Revised Edition. And tonight we're going to be doing an actual play where we delve deep into the gritty side of the city, and hopefully the heroes make it through. Tonight we have a couple of people making their rounds who are going to be playing tonight. We have Alice. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well.
And then we have Brandon.
Howdy.
We have Chris.
Hello.
We have Jay Sweet.
Hey.
And finally, last in order, we have Oliver.
Salute.
How are you guys doing tonight? Everybody grooving?
I'm grooving.
Excellent.
You can't
All
see
right,
it, but there's two thumbs and a forefinger. I'm doing great.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to take a look at what we have. Now, we earlier today discussed, or I put up a couple of the characters, and Jay, you've already picked out or sent Pulse in. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Pulse?
Pulse is basically a young mutant. His powers manifested his freshman year in college, created a major disruption, and the more experienced heroes had to come in, kind of nail down the campus, save the day, and he's been with them ever since because he kind of tends to get in trouble if he goes off on his own. Trying to go after villains that are just a little bit out of his power league.
Gotcha. All right, so Alice, since you're first up in my lineup, which character would you like to pick?
I will pick Dr. Connor then.
Okay.
That was at the top of my list.
AKA Redwall. What was it about Redwall that drew you?
Which one was Redwall in the end? Oh,
that's
actually,
Dr. Connor.
Yeah, sorry. No, I just needed to remember which one of the different items. Actually, the force wall generator sounded fun. So.
Nice. All right, you should now have access to that in your handouts.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then next up, we have Brandon. Brandon, what would you like to pick for your character?
The Blue Sparrow.
The Blue Sparrow. All right, that's going to take me a minute because I have to upload that. What was it that drew you to Blue Sparrow?
Got to think small. Some heroes come at problems at a macro scale, but it's really micro changes that'll lead to a long-term solution.
Nice. Absolutely cool. And Chris, who did you want to run?
Let me take a look here. I must admit I just got home from work shortly, so I'm looking at the characters now. I think Burn Up sounds interesting.
Burn Up? All right, we're going to add him to your lineup. Edit. All right. He should be in your handouts. And then Pulse, we have to... did I already add him to you? Nope, I did not. Let's see. In Players' Journals. There we go. All right, and I see some of the folks are, right now you're only seeing all of the stuff with the macros so that you can enable those and disable those. I'm going to send you the full character sheets in just a second. Oliver, which hero would you like to pick up?
Well, actually, the two that I were going to play got picked, so I guess we will go with... I'm going to go with Thorn.
Okay. What was it that drew you to Thorn?
A lack of options.
right.
Actually, I liked Thorn just because it looked like there might be a little bit of role playing available with him. It sounds like he was a very selfish individual, and now he sort of got this conflict with this alternate conscience, I guess. It makes him want to go. Says, "All right, we're going to go off and do this." And he's like, "Well, I don't want to do it." And it's like, "Well, you're going to do it anyway." And he's like, kind of thing. So I thought that kind of was interesting.
Okay, so while we're waiting for me to get everybody going, all right, we got Thorn.
I a brick. I smash.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, in a new game, that's usually the way to go. Go with the fighter or the brick.
Yep. Smash through everything and see what happens.
Yeah. And GM comes over and goes, "Say attack!" Oh, man.
All right, can't be edited. And just trying to find your name real quick. There we go. RPG Man 2013. All right, you have control of Thorn. All right, so a little bit of background while I'm doing some of this setup. You guys are the Bastion Saints, a small hero group in a very big city full of crime, despicable acts, and tons of people who really need a desperate attitude adjustment. I have an audience behind me throwing a little bit of back talk, so if you hear something funny, throw change. You have converted a warehouse in the meatpacking district, which has fallen onto hard times, but you guys pulled your money together and bought the place so that you could have some place to work out of. The place that you're working out of has all the amenities. It has control room, multiple computer settings, holographic displays. You've helped quite a few people, and in doing so, were able to garner a few favors that allowed you to set this up. So you guys are in the midst of your base and hanging out at the moment. Controlling access or tokens. So for those of us just joining right now, while I'm giving some of the backstory, one of the things that we're doing is setting up who belongs to who and where access can go. So we're setting up being able to control tokens, being able to move those tokens, so forth and so on. So Redwall. So we're setting that up right now. Are you guys doing anything while you're in your base? If you look at the bottom right-hand side of the map, you can also see there is a large. You can also see there's a large metal box. That's the refrigerator.
Is there a practice room?
Yes, on the lower level of the base. Would you like to go there?
That is where Redwall would currently be, probably.
Excellent. And you guys are staying in the command center?
I'm watching TV.
Watching TV. All right, let's see.
It's because I have nothing better to do than hang out with my buddy and watch TV. I, too, will watch TV.
Woohoo!
Excellent.
Hey, hands above the table, sir.
Probably insisting that we find some sports on or something.
Yeah, but it's got to be manly sports. It can't be that ballerina stuff, okay? Just not into that stuff. A little bit of world soccer.
You do realize you're in the U.S., right?
It's football or not at all?
Yeah.
I've been all over the world though. Football, it's the game of the future. Americans need to get on board with this. Got some UFC?
So nobody wants to go sparring with me?
I don't want
I
to hurt
have
you.
a lazy team.
No, I don't want to hurt you, Doc. Just yeah.
Um,
Bad about last time. Yeah.
I would, but I don't seem to have a character sheet yet.
True story. I don't have mine either.
My same boat.
All right, I'm going to upload those now. So we got Thorn. You already have yours, correct?
No, I have a handout. I don't have a character sheet.
All right. Do you have the handout that looks like the character sheet?
I do.
All I have is the graphic of the characters in the short blurbs.
Okay, those are the macros. So you can enable those in the top right-hand corner, so that you'll see them come along the bottom of the screen, and you just press it and it'll auto roll for you.
I do not have that attached to my token.
Okay.
All right, Alice, you should have Redwall now as the character sheet, not just the macro sheet. Okay.
Yeah. Regarding the macro sheet had nothing
For Redwall?
for Redwall. I received no. I activated my macro bar and it shows nothing.
Try it now.
I will look at it again.
Should come up to the bottom of the screen.
Is it attached to the token?
No, it's attached to the bottom of the screen. I can attach it to the token. Try it now.
I
No, I
did.
have the character sheet attached to the token, and if the macros are enabled, it should appear at the bottom.
Yeah, my macros are enabled and I have the macro bar showing, but it's just blank. Still,
Strange.
I've even toggled it off and on 4 or 5 times. Macros are overrated. I can just roll dice.
Okay. We got character sheets, so we can roll dice. That's easy.
Exactly. I have character sheets. I can roll dice. I can
Yeah,
add a few numbers together. Not a big deal.
Yep. Let me go grab my Star Wars D6 bag of dice.
the only thing I have under my character are the powers. I don't have anything else. So.
And that's Blue Sparrow?
No, that's Pulse.
Oh, Pulse?
Yeah.
Check your journal. And it should come up as a handout.
Yeah, I have characters Pulse, and when I open that, all I have is abilities, and I have the 3 powers, and I don't have anything under attribute, and I don't have anything else.
You should just have powers listed. Do you have?
Yeah, I have the power. Nothing else.
Yeah, the character sheet will just have the character sheet will have all of the stuff, and then we can just roll that right inside the dice roller. If you look to the left-hand side, there's a small bar at the top left of the screen. There's what looks like a D20.
Possibly.
If you click that, it will allow you to roll dice.
I'm sure I'll find it here in a second. Yep, there it is. Okay, yeah. Yep.
All right. Your character sheet should be up now.
There we go.
And Brandon, you were playing Burnout?
Brandon.
Oh, no, Sparrow. Okay.
Chris is playing
You
Burnout.
said you were going to have to upload.
Yep. So. The troubles of modern gaming. All right.
It should be a little easier to follow.
And give me 1 second on this, and then we will launch this up. So how often do you guys get to game?
For Brandon and I, we have a long-standing gaming group that runs every Saturday, normally, that we run from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Every Saturday. Sadly, we've been a little wonky the past couple months due to some real-life stuff, but it's been going over 10 years pretty well, so
Wow.
I guess it's got to have some hiccups. And then other than that, we game whenever we can. That's the truth. And if I don't get at least 8 hours a week, I start getting the shakes.
8 hours a week, really?
Yeah, I seriously, I need my gaming.
That is amazing.
It doesn't need to be like pen and paper. We play board games, we play collectible card games, we play some MMOs on and off, depending on how low our other gaming stuff's going on. No, I'm not one of those wives that there's wife aggro for not gaming. There's wife aggro for. I'm sorry, there's not wife aggro for gaming. There's wife aggro for not gaming.
We have a Supers campaign every other week. Bargold's actually in that one with me, so.
Have you managed to convince him to run the team game yet?
No, I have not. Right now, he's just playing in mine, but evidently he's got a thread on the Supers board that I'm supposed to stay out of, so he may be playing some game that I can get my team hero in, so.
Nice.
Yeah, I get to cancel a session almost every week.
Oh. All right. Copy. And I apologize. I thought I had this set up a lot better than I did. That's what I get. That's what I get.
You're still probably in the top 3 most organized I've dealt with in Hangout.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like I said,
I get to play more than he does, so I can't say that. Sorry, sadly, but you're in the top. You're in the top percentile by all means.
Well,
but I get to play a lot more than he does these days.
This was kind of like a spur of the moment kind of deal. We did. We wanted to help DT Pints do the put a little bandwidth up. Plus, it was a little more bandwidth for the game, which we never turned down. So let's see. So we're just hoping to get the word out there. All right. So does everybody now have at least access to their character sheets?
Yeah.
I have mine.
Yeah, I have Blue Sparrow.
Yeah,
So-
I'm good here.
Yeah,
At
I've
least-
got the handout of my character, so.
All right. At least we can use the handouts to roll some dice, and that dice roller you can either do it inside the chat window like you guys have been doing, or you can use the dice roller in the top left-hand side of the screen, and then we'll make that happen. All right. And now I'm just assigning control to the various tokens, and then we should have that rolling in just a second, and then we'll let the mayhem begin.
Do you object to using Dice Stream?
That's the online dice roller. It's a different app.
That's the one inside Hangout that will show up on our video feed.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
Great.
Too easy.
Very cooperative. So.
I love cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's overrated.
It's true.
I'm
It's true.
curmudgeon-y that way.
We don't mind a little curmudgeon-y.
I will rein it in because it's a family thing, so.
I gotcha.
We want to keep that PG rating at least.
Where's the fun in that?
Well, I completely agree, but you know what? I'm the new guy, so.
Gotcha.
And I'm an ambassador for Star Wars D6, so I mean I gotta be okay. I gotta be a nice guy.
You play a lot of Star Wars D6?
Yeah, I'm a big cheerleader for it.
And
It's a
where are
great
you?
game from what I remember.
I'm sorry?
Where are you broadcasting from?
Oh, Iowa.
Nice.
Iowa.
I was saying Star Wars D6 is a great game from what I remember. I haven't played it in probably 15 plus years, but have good memories of it.
There's an updated version that was just released in January. I'm surprised you haven't snapped it up.
Hadn't even heard anything about it. Just the Fantasy Flight one, which I read through and was not impressed with on their first one.
Not so much. No, really. You get a chance. Use your Google Foo and look for Star Wars Re-Up, and you may have to put Mark II on that. I'm not real sure. There's two versions floating around. One that came out in December, and then the updated version that came in end of January. And that's basically all the rules in the revised expanded, plus all the rules that appeared in all the other material that they had all in one place, and then updated with additional information so you can play it in any era. So, kind of cool. So anyway, back to superheroes, which is what we're pimping.
It's true.
Yep, sorry about that. Didn't mean to take anything from superheroes.
No,
the RPG.
Please. Yep. This Supers actually came about with my business partner Andrew. Saw that Simon Washburn was going to be looking for somebody to take over the reins of the game. So we said, yeah, why not? We'll see what trouble we can get into.
Slap it on us. Yeah. We're young. We can still make mistakes. You want to win? Oh, we can do that.
Yeah. So we snapped it up, put it out to Kickstarter. Got a pretty good turnout with the Kickstarter, and then we tried to get as much cool art, layout, and everything that we could in order to get it rolling, and then what do you call it? We unleashed it to the masses, and everybody's been very, very supportive. So,
for what it's worth, I had the original edition as well as backing the Kickstarter, and you guys have made some significant improvements both in the mechanics and particularly in the presentation. Simon does good work, but his layout is boring as anything.
We got really lucky in the people that wrote for us. So we had Aldo Regalado and Russ Boyd, and they just did a phenomenal job. And I can't say enough about what they put together. Not only in the mechanics, but also working with the community, so that you weren't just, this is what we want to make of the game and that's it. A lot of people had input and got to put their stamp on the game, even though a lot of them didn't make it into the credits. You still had a really big community coming together and really helping us and playtesting with us and doing all sorts of stuff. So it was very, very cool.
Yeah, I know that Alice and I were looking at it when it was up, but we had the original edition and hadn't really used it for anything, so didn't end up backing you guys, but I'm glad that it worked out.
Nice.
The $1 buy-in for the white copy is what got me to up it all the way.
Yeah, we wanted to release it with as minimal a buy-in as we could, just because we wanted to make sure that let people come out and take no risk on it. If you like it, support it. If you didn't like it, well then better luck with us getting your money next time. So. We did what we could to try and make it as user-friendly and as fun and light as we could for those people that just want to sit down at a table and throw some dice. But then we also wanted to make sure that those guys who did play games like champions and mutants and masterminds had something a little crunchy that they could dig into, so that they weren't just rolling their eyes every time they had to roll dice.
Thank you. No, Brandon and I are crunch. We like crunch, heavier crunch, and so all these like no crunch and light crunch systems coming out makes me want to stab my eyes out after a while.
So you're probably not a big supporter of icons.
Icons?
Yeah, it's another one.
It's a nice read. We haven't sat down and played it yet, but I'd be willing to. But Fate in general is not really our thing.
Oh, it's the Fate one. Okay, yeah.
Well,
no.
sort of.
One of the Fate ones.
Yeah. Okay, I was like, that sounds familiar.
See, I'm so old school. I'd probably go, let's play some V&V.
Now you're dating yourself. Yep.
I am dating. Oh, I can't even remember the hundreds and hundreds of characters I made for that.
V&V, Heroes Unlimited, Champions back in the day.
Had to be
Marvel
third
and
edition.
DC.
Had to be third edition with the George Perez cover though, or else it wasn't Champions.
It's fourth, actually, wasn't it?
Was it fourth? I think you
I
meant.
thought that's fourth, the George Perez cover.
The big blue book.
Yeah, the big blue book that.
Yeah, that's fourth.
Isn't that fourth? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fourth.
Yeah, I can pretty much guarantee that will knock a cat out if you drop it from like about halfway from.
Really, because I think that the 6th edition double books. I mean, the binding was so strained on the 2 books of 6th edition that our bindings actually broke after a couple uses. So we contacted the company and they sent us free book because they said, yeah, it's a bit much.
Well, they actually have video of a 5th edition book stopping a 22 caliber bullet.
I believe it.
Doesn't surprise me.
Hey, stereo instructions.
Anybody looked at the new Traveler?
No.
Yeah, that thing is rather meaty too. I believe Stu on Happy Jacks has said repeatedly he's using it as a doorstop.
Yeah, because that's really the only thing it's good for.
It's not a good system, huh?
It is
Okay.
not. It is not. No, do not buy. Do
Okay.
not.
Then I will skip.
On that
Maybe I'll
note,
try it if I get a chance to try it in a Hangout setting or something. But
All right, guys. I think we got.
You can run down the basic mechanics. I read Supers, probably 2 years ago last.
Not a problem. Basic mechanics, this is a dice pool game, so throw handfuls of dice, and if your dice meet or beat my dice, then you win and get to do something cool. It's really that simple. Anytime you see a power on a sheet represented by 2 in the letter D, that's just the number of dice that you're rolling. When you're talking about aptitudes, which are your skills, aptitudes are mundane abilities, so they cap at 3 dice, which means if you have an ability like, say you are an expert marksman and your shooting skill is 5D, you are one of the best shooters in the world, when you go and you decide to throw some shooting dice, those will cap it at 3, and you take the highest 3 or what have you when you do that roll, and that will be your roll for that particular action. Defense is probably, or powers and the way that everything works in the game is probably my favorite aspect of Supers, and that is everything has 3 options: attack, defense, or special effect. And as long as you can justify it and explain it, you can do it. So if you have the Incredible Hulk and you have, as has happened on occasion, Reed Richards come in to try and talk some sense into him, and Reed is not necessarily the combat guy, so the Hulk throws a car at him. If you can tell me that Reed, you use his super science or his super brain to calculate the trajectory of the car, how far from you it takes before you can step out of the way, then you can use your super brain or super science to defend, which is absolutely groovy. So basically, even the smart guy can be a combat entity when he needs to be. So it's really easy. Your imagination fuels the narrative, and the narrative is great for pretty much doing anything in the game. So what are your questions?
When do we start?
All right. Just do me a favor. I'm missing one token. Oh, so Burnout, that was you already moving your character?
I think so. This is me, right?
Yep. Okay, so
Okay.
everybody grab on. So real quick, right? We got, if you watch the yep, there you go. Yep, that's right there is Bluebird. If you guys are watching the pulses going on the screen right now.
Mhm.
The blue pulse is Bluebird. Yep, Alice, that's you. And then pulse is right there. So just make sure you guys can all move. Nice.
So when I try, I'm getting just a drag window, or one time I actually just got like a radial menu.
That's
that
weird.
popped up. I have gremlins as a flaw in general.
hence as detailed by your headset.
Oh yeah, as the player, he has gremlins. That everyone knows that, and thank goodness for people who know Shadowrun and know what gremlins means.
Do I need to be on a different, selector tool?
Hold on one
Just the
second.
mouse.
I saw Bugs Bunny. I know what a gremlin is.
Oh, there I go. I have to get it right by the head of the mini, it looks like.
Okay. All right, good. All right, so we are all set to go then.
Rock on.
All right, everybody has their thing running. Let me just transfer the screen. All right. All right, so you guys are on base for the day. It's been a quiet week in the city because, you know, we want this to be applicable to pretty much any setting we can fit into. So you guys are in the city. The city is up to you. You guys, like I said, are the Bastion Saints. You are the favorite superheroes of the city because you guys are the neighborhood kids. You all grew up here together, and then when you left, you came back when, coincidentally, you all developed whatever powers you developed. Even Thorn, who was considered the bad seed, came back and decided to help, much to his chagrin. If you look around the room, you can see various computers, and you have the large center console that's all the way up at the top. If you are not seeing the blue ring right now, that you can also change the size of the map using the magnifier tool, and you'll be able to see everything. So you guys are just hanging out. It's been a pretty tough week. There's a new gang that's been moving into the area, Los Santos Negros, the Black Saints. And the thing that's giving you guys a hard time is it seems most gangs have a particular focus. You know, they're something they're really good at. They're either, you know, dealing drugs to school kids, or they're stealing cars, theft, you name it. They are into it, but they seem to specialize. So the problem with the Black Saints is that these guys, they lost their leader about 6 months ago, and a new leader stepped in, known as Raven Lily. Lily is driven, violent, but very prone to shrewd business transactions, and she has been using these transactions to make her way up the gangland ladder. Is there anything that you guys are doing right now to keep tabs on them? Anything that you've been doing since your last takedown of the Black Saints, which involved the shutdown of a chop shop?
Yeah, I would say that on their way out, I managed to tag one of Blue Sparrow's little miniature gadget GPSs on one of the bikes, and so we've been monitoring one of their thugs' activities without him knowing it through a GPS monitor.
Excellent. All right. So while doing this, you have been keeping tabs on them. You see that they have been all over the city. One of the bikes that you tagged has been used as a messenger. So they've been going from place to place, either making pickups, making drop-offs, picking up. What do you call it? Picking up. Excuse me. Like money from certain places that they're extorting, so forth and so on. So they've been all over, but you can't seem to get a bead on Lily. If you
Isn't that a
guys,
little weird? I mean, don't gangs usually have a particular territory they kind of stick to?
these guys have been all over, and if we look at if you guys look at real quick, you guys should see
Quick question.
the the splatter page that we had for the game right now. The woman with the gun in her hand, that's Lily. So you know what she looks like. You just haven't been able to track her. It just seems like everything seems to be going through intermediaries. So you're right. The most gangs do have a territory. These guys are not sticking to it.
Quick question.
Yes.
You mentioned that we've had a couple confrontations. From our experience, how many are superpowered?
The day-to-day guys are not. They just are very well armed, up to and including some bulletproof style T-shirts that they're wearing under their clothing, which is giving the cops a little bit of problem, because when shootouts occur, they're getting hit, but they're not staying down. So as far as like the day-to-day mooks, nobody seems to be superpowered, but you've heard rumors of lieutenants with strange powers, and you've also heard that Lily herself has strange powers.
Okay.
In vein of the shootouts, what is their respect for the local community during such events? Do they seek out violent encounters, or are they avoiding those?
It's strange, and that's something that you've noticed while trying to take down this gang. You know that when Lily took over, it was quiet for a period of about 2 or 3 months, where the activity was very low level. You know, small drug deals, small deals in particular. I mean, there was not a lot of big-time activity from a gang that was very prolific. But when it did ramp up, it ramped up in a big way, and it seemed like that they were not so much fighting other gangs as much as absorbing them, almost like business takeovers. And the Raven has been very smart in keeping when they get into it with the police, they actually lead the police away from populated areas.
Okay. One more question, one more statement. Going with the theory that Dr. Connor is an expert in technology field, he's a PhD in technology, I would believe that I would have some resources in leading tech. And given how well armed they are, the T-shirts you're mentioning, I would probably want to go and do a little research on where this, how leading, how next gen some of their tech might be, and where they might be sourcing it from. Basically, if any tech labs I have any dealings with have leaked materials or leaked weaponry, etc., to them.
You guys are actually on really good terms with the police, and they have allowed you to keep certain artifacts that you've collected during some of these takedowns, and the firearms, they're just military grade firearms. So there's not a lot there that's really piquing your interest. But the T-shirts,
exactly.
you have that equipment that Thorn is standing at right now, that equipment is all sorts of lab equipment, specialized computers, scanning systems. Did you want to use that?
Yes, I'd be using that, and then I would break it down to what companies that I've had dealings with in the past have the capability of making such things and trying to basically source the gang source of the gear.
You start breaking some of the T-shirts down, and let's see.
First, you have to clear. Burnup was looking up movie show times for Ant-Man. Tell you what,
Subtle
Doc.
hack, not the way that it works, guys.
Tell you what,
so-
Doc. You do your science stuff. We're thinking of maybe heading out into the community.
All right,
Yeah,
so
we're gonna go on patrol.
you guys are going to go on patrol out to the community
Yeah.
to patrol.
AKA, they're going to go to patrol a movie theater
Exactly.
by sitting in a nice dark room. I ended up in a very lazy team.
Well, they are the favorite of the community, and most of that has to do with some of their outreach. So maybe they're going to bring some of their outreach with them.
So I had
Burnout
also-
keeps getting the suits after him based on his outreach to the cute girls, then we might be in some real trouble.
Well, it's a good thing the girls don't see his face. Then we might not be as popular.
Oh,
All right, so both Burnout and Thorn are going to go to the movies.
Well, we're going on patrol.
Patrol, yes.
All right, Dr. Connor, would you like to go ahead and roll a technology roll? So that would be,
I'd actually like to be helping her out with this. Get down to really the nitty gritty of it on the molecular level. I mean.
Oh, you
Okay.
can get dirty with her on the molecular.
So how do we do assists in your system?
so you're going to bringing up the fantastic rulebook.
I'll wait to roll until I find out.
There we go. All right, so assisting. You're going to the person who's assisting you is going to be to make an assisting roll, and if he makes the roll using the necessary attribute, you get extra dice with which to roll your particular roll.
Sweet. Good thing I waited. Go, Brandon.
Now, can I use my size control? Because what I'm trying to do is, I'm assuming with size control you get, the enhanced vision as you get smaller because everything gets bigger. If these are going to be really next-gen kind of suits, they're going to have some sort of, markers on them that would be able to distinguish. And so I want to go down onto that molecular level and be able to find, search out for that. So can I use my size control instead of technology, or how would that work?
No, that's fantastic. That's a great idea, in fact. So
For
if you want to
example, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, for example, that microscopic engraving on diamonds these days, he'll be able to see that.
Absolutely. So if you want to go ahead, Brandon, and use Blue Sparrow's ability to shrink down, you have 5 dice in that. So if you just go ahead and roll 5d6, you'll be able to. Your target number is going to be a 12, so you just have to beat a 12.
It looks like I'm utterly failing at that. 3, 2, and 4.
3, 2, and 4. So
That's what I
yep.
thought. Only keep 3, right?
No. This is a power, not a skill.
Yeah,
Okay, then I
that's
do
what I
get 12 on the dot.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm like, what?
So you got 12 on the dot. Okay, so now in the game there's a specialized Benny mechanic called competency dice, and much like Savage Worlds, competency dice allow you to re-roll. It allows you to take control of the narrative. It allows you to do all sorts of stuff. In this case, the competency dice that you add will, because you're going to be using your technology, correct?
Correct.
So normally you would only roll the 3 dice. With Blue Sparrow's assistance, you're going to get that extra die, and it will count. So you can go ahead and roll that and take the total of all of it.
I rolled a 13. Not great.
A 13? Nope, that's more than fine. So moving some of the fibers around and getting small enough as Blue Sparrow balks at the other two patrolling an Ant-Man movie, you use your powers in real time to actually get down to just above the molecular level. So the strands and fibers of this specialized mesh is able to be manipulated by you on a strand-for-strand basis. You start moving things around, and that's when Dr. Connor notices a specialized tag. It's kind of like a reference number, along with a microscopic code that could probably be read by a laser.
Okay. I assume we have a laser that we can use?
Absolutely. And do you?
We are definitely going to read it.
The tag comes back with a identity code for a corporation called Infinidyne. And Infinidyne is a multinational corporation with headquarters, coincidentally enough, in the city. And the Infinidyne Corporation does everything from Department of Defense stuff to making pharmaceuticals. So their portfolio is very diverse. They have been known in the past to work with very high science-minded superheroes. So they are open to talking to masks and capes of all types. But you've never heard of their tech getting loose before.
Okay.
So what do you do?
Well, since they are open to talking to me as Redwall, I will dial them up on the video call screen and look for someone to talk to about this. And I will have the code at hand.
Okay. So you bring up this huge screen, and basically the holographic screen that's at the end of that big wall, and you dial with a Google Hangout and and connect with Martin Shear. He is the director of public relations for the city, and Martin looks at you and says, "Is this real? Redwall calling us? This is fantastic." One second. I need to notify my assistant. PR needs to be notified on this. And he starts looking busy but excited. And he's like,
"Sir, I would hold off on informing anyone of this discussion for the moment. I am afraid I'm not calling about good news."
I don't like the sound of that, but go ahead, Redwall. Your standing in the scientific community is fantastic. So if you say we have a problem, I'm a little worried.
You seem to have a leak of some sort. I am currently holding a prototype from your company with the serial number ZX5278B335. It seems to be a prototype for next-gen armor of some sort, and it was found on criminals, being used by criminals. This is not the only one. It's just the only one we managed to take possession of.
ZX5278B, and he goes, ZX5278B355. Oh, you have one of our shirts. And there's a huge pop in the video, and it goes to a blank screen for a second with a company logo rotating very slowly in the feed.
Okay.
And a second goes by. I mean, there's even really badly orchestrated elevator music playing. And you see a female executive come on. She seems meticulously groomed. Puts on a headset. You hear a click as her audio comes in, and she says, This is Redwall. My name is Allison Kane. I am the Director of Northeast Operations for Infinidyne. I see that you have control over a ZX5278B355 prototype, one of ours. Is that correct?
It would seem so, Ms. Kane.
Can you
And
please tell me how you came into possession of this prototype?
By apprehending criminals that should not have access.
And what criminals did you apprehend? Can you shoot me a link to an arrest report?
I'm afraid that would... Okay, out of character question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that they would have access to, or is this above their pay grade?
Probably could get it, but you guys could, what do you call it? You guys could notify the police and they could send it over.
Okay. I will say, one moment please. I will look over on the other pad, send a message over to whoever our contact is, Mr. Jones at the police station, and have them send it over.
Not a problem.
Do I know either of the individuals that we've interacted with so far since I was a Infinidyne employee?
You've never heard of Martin Shear, but you know Allison Kane. She's one of the CEO's big executive. She's the controller for Northeast Operations. So she's pretty much one step below one of the CEOs for where she is. She comes back and she says, "I find it very disturbing that you have access to this and that you say that this has found its way into the hands of criminals. What can you tell me about the criminal element while we're waiting for the report from Mr. Jones?"
I would need to make certain that you are authorized for any information regarding the criminal element by Mr. Jones before I could relate that information, Ms. Kane.
She's like, "You're very formal. Stand by." There's that big spinning logo that goes on again. I'm sorry? Are you...
That was to Brandon. I needed to pass him his headset charger.
But the spinning logo only lasts for a few seconds, and as the logo shuts off, there's a ding for the email coming in on your tablet.
Okay.
It's a police report from Mr. Jones out of the CPD, and he said that not only are they more than willing to help, but that Miss Kane has access.
Okay. I will forward the information to Ms. Kane, and I will say we were breaking up the activities at a chop shop when the was it Black Raven? I'm sorry, Black Raven's gang?
Raven Lily.
Okay, Raven Lily's gang, where Raven Lily's gang was operating out of, and a large crew of theirs attempted to stop us. When they engaged us, we managed to arrest several members, and on every one of those members, they wore one of these shirts.
She kind of like grabs her lip and looks down to the side, and we're going to interrupt this scene for a second. And it was Oliver and I believe Chris that wanted to go. That we're going to the movies. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. We were going to try and sneak out as best we could.
Well, you're playing Thorn, so you're not really sneaky.
Not really sneaky. Yeah, I mean, but hey, we're going on a patrol. That's my sneaky.
So you guys leave. You
my
guys leave.
People were like, "Hey, babe, we're going to be going on a patrol. We'll see you when we get back."
You guys sneak out of the building and start heading to patrol the local Cineplex because that's where bad things happen. And
in the comic books.
So I'm going to assume as a stunt driver
pattern of where they're attacking.
What's that? What was that again, Brandon?
You said there's no discernible pattern of where their events take place, so...
That is correct. So you guys are heading toward the Cineplex, and you notice... do either one of you have awareness?
Oh...
No.
Well, I'm not sure. Is that an aptitude? Is that a power? Or what is that?
It's an aptitude. Yep.
Nope.
Okay, so you can make a skill roll untrained by rolling a single d6. So go ahead and roll. 4. And for burnout?
I think I pushed the button, and did it not show up?
Oh, there's a button we can push.
Yeah, 5.
Okay.
Oh.
Thorn seems to be in his own world, just kind of, wondering what he'd be able to do with powers like Ant-Man or Blue Sparrow. But Burnout, you notice a large abundance of traffic heading toward the back towards your base. Specifically, a lot of like black SUVs. You've seen at least 3 of them pass by you on this street in the last few minutes. All the same type, all the same model.
This does not look good. Question, Thorn, are you always beasted out, or can you be in civilian clothes, so to speak?
Okay. What do you mean beasted out? I'm popping these threads.
That was out of character, but...
What's that, from my character? Oh, you asked out of character. Oh,
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. I am beast.
Okay. So it's not like there's any point in trying to be inconspicuous here.
Correct.
What do you do?
I am actually going to hop on the cell phone and give Redwall a call.
Okay, we're going to pause the scene right there for a second. Now, Redwall, you're back in the office, and you're talking to Kane, and she had just put her hand up like this and looked off to the side when hold on one second. She had just put her hand up to her chin and looked off to the side when there's a loud, real loud pop, almost like a circuit breaker going. Power to the facility shuts down, and your backup generator kicks in.
Okay. Quick note before you do that, Brandon did ask about doing something a little while ago, so if we can back it up so that he can get his question answered. He posted it on.
Yeah, if any of our surveillance addresses coincide with Infinidyne, yes, you guys sometimes patrol that area, but you haven't heard of anything going down.
Well, from the bikes that we tagged with GPS trackers, and you said we weren't finding a pattern, I'm just wondering if any of those addresses might come up. It's the same as an Infinidyne location.
No, none of those bikes had actually gone by Infinidyne, but you guys patrol in that area, the industrial park, regularly, and you haven't heard of anything going on in that section.
Okay.
So power goes out, and then your cell phone rings.
Okay. So power goes out, our backup generator kicks in. Was it a full interruption on the call, as in the call dropped, or was it just a glitch up?
You're not sure. If you roll a technology roll, you would be able to tell whether the power going out.
I mean, is the call still going right now?
No, it's okay. When the power shut down, everything kind of went to backup generators immediately, but things like a call were shut down to preserve data.
Great.
Ever since Pulse was down there last week, things have just not been going right. I'm going to check it out. Get small, start flying to the generator.
Gotcha.
I answer the cell phone just as I basically check our security panels to make certain all the backup generators are handling the security system. Yep. And I go, "This is Redwall."
Hey Doc, it's Burnup. We're on our way back, and there's a whole fleet of men in black SUVs headed your way. Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but this does not quite look right. We're on our way back in.
Our power just went out. We are on backup generators. The security system seemed to be holding for the moment, but...
We're on our way.
Good. See you soon.
Okay. Thorn, are you fire resistant?
Sort of. Why?
Whoosh! Well, I can't carry you if you're not fire resistant.
Well, Johnny Storm can make it so his hands don't go on fire.
Yeah. Can I lift him? I don't know if we've ever tried this before.
Well, I heard about this other guy in New York. He can do it, but he doesn't have to make his hands all flamey.
I could make you walk.
If you if you roll your damage aura, you can go ahead and try and make a stunt. Do you see how on the character sheet where you have competency dice?
Yes.
Okay. You can spend one of those to stunt your power.
Okay.
To try and get your hands from not flaming to carry him, or you can just do it and hope that he's fire resistant. He seems pretty resistant most of the time, so.
Well, other question. How far away are we, actually?
Probably a few blocks. You could run back there if you really needed to.
Rather than risk burning you and...
Okay.
how about I'm going to take to the air and you get there as fast as you can.
All right, what's going on? What? Movie starts in like 20 minutes, man. Where you going?
I just talked to Redwall. The power just went out in our base, and with all those SUVs headed our way, I think we got something bad's going down.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think she just blew another hairdryer switch thingy. Come on, let's go. The movie.
I take off.
And Thorn, what are you going to be doing?
I shake my head and continue walking towards the movie, and when all of a sudden I get a little pang of conscience.
Dr. Fate rears his head. You're going home.
Yeah, you're going back. So if you want to GM that out, you're more than welcome to do so.
Think of it this way. It's not just a question of conscience and helping our team. We all sunk money into this place.
Yeah, but
imagine how much you're going to be out if they blow it up.
It's Ant-Man. He grows down to the size of an ant. The size of an ant.
So you guys,
special Blue Sparrow.
You guys start heading back. Oliver, go ahead and add a temporary competency die to your character for your pang of guilt.
Okay. And so that thing's like gnawing at me, and I'm like, "Will you shut up?" And it's like people are like looking at me. I'm like, "Yeah, take a picture." As I walk down the street, chewing on my cigar.
So you guys are heading back to the base. I am just going to move your characters over here for the moment.
I'll be doing super leaps from the side of one building to another.
We know.
I'll just go down the middle of the street.
Oh dear. I just have the image of Thing crossed with Mr. Fate, with Dr. Fate. That is not a good. That is not a good image. Dr. Fate plus the Thing.
What are you talking about, you paloozas? You better watch it. I'm gonna get yours.
So you have.
Knuckle sandwich, anyone?
You guys are. Redwall's still in the control room. You have Pulse with you, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been assisting with this as well, and then Blue Sparrow, you said you had gone down to the generator room.
Yeah, I want to try and find out what's going on with the power. Ever since Pulse was trying to do things down there, things have just not worked right.
I was just trying to increase the output slightly.
Slightly.
All right, so you're
lighting
flying
us
down.
up to the moon is not slightly.
Oh, just trying to get a club atmosphere going on.
All right, so you head down to the lower level. We're going to just shift view here for a second. Okay, and none of you guys are here. Okay, so Blue Sparrow is down in the lower level. The upper level has been greatly improved. Like a very, very high-grade command center, lots of tech and gadgets, a fully stocked fridge.
With beer.
With beer. So what you have going on right now at the bottom, you have the leftover of what this factory used to produce. This was one of the only meat industry warehouses in the area, and you guys produced this building actually produced very heavy gauge wire. So for use in telecommunications, railroads, shipping. So the bottom is pretty much still a mess. Anywhere you see these big black dots, those big black dots are they're columns holding up the upper level that you just came from. You have these stairs that bring you down into this particular floor. You can see you have the gun and training range off to one side, and then. But as you're coming down here, all of these walls pretty much have windows that you can see out of, and you start seeing a whole load of SUVs coming into the picture and parking not right on top of the building, probably about 50, 60 yards away, but you can see at least 6 SUVs parking on the outside of the structure.
And they're not the style that Stuntman or Burnup normally goes for, right? He's not just buying a bunch of cars all at once.
No, this is you don't have the spinner rims and the the flame jobs. There's not loads of girls falling out of the SUVs with dropping champagne onto the ground. It just looks like 6 to 8 SUVs, all parked pretty much in a small ellipsis, and the SUVs. The SUVs basically are just sitting there for the moment.
All right. 2 notes. First of all, about the beer, microbrews. Just saying. Second thing, like I said, I was going to shrink down, come down through the ventilation system probably is the fast way to get here.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go ahead. Do we have communicators?
Yes. Yeah, you guys have communicators.
I'm going to stay shrunk down, keep eyes on them, and I'll go ahead and hit my Star Trek communicator and go ahead and relate to those that are in range. That it looks like we've got about 8 Escalades full of people, probably heavily armed, coming to pay us a visit.
I don't want that bloop 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 sound on mine, so I changed mine over to the MC Hammer. Mine's gonna be hammer time every time that phone rings. Hammer time. No, 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 no.
What do you guys do when you hear this?
Go ahead.
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead. I've been hogging a lot. Go.
So I was just saying I'm already inbound, so once I hear that, I just try and kick on a little extra speed, which unfortunately probably makes me a bit brighter, so I'm not exactly subtle coming in.
For the ever-loving life of my Aunt Rose.
I am going to hedge up our security system, see whatever power I can draw from the backup generators to try and ensure that the base doesn't fall. Then I'm going to head up to a good vantage point where I can look out, so probably the rooftop, and look out and down. I'm going to be taking a tablet with me to keep track of the security system.
Okay. Make a technology roll.
Sure thing.
You said we still had some spools of that heavy-duty wire?
Oh yeah, all over the place. It's all over the warehouse.
All right. Would I be able to do? I keep my, I get the strength that I would normally have, but compacted into a small body, so I become super strong, or?
No, you would have your strength is exponentially changed versus your size, I believe, and it's Hold on one second. I got it right here. So when you shrink, here we go. Yes, so your strength would stay the same pretty much.
So not going to be able to move heavy-duty wire around.
Right. Yep.
However,
So
can I shrink some heavy-duty wire coils, move them, and then later let them grow back up?
if you let me see if your power is usable by. No, you wouldn't be able to do that unless you wanted to spend a competency die, in which case you could stunt your power to try it.
How big is our entryway?
If you look at the, where is it? Right there. So if you look at this, do you see the blue?
Yep. So it's that. So we're looking at like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 feet.
Yeah, that's a huge overhead door. So kind of like one of those doors that it's an automated door that folds up. So
Transformer style.
No, not that kind of transforms. But it's a huge overhead door. Plus, you have an exit on the side, on the top, where the blue circle's going now, and then another door on the bottom where I'm pinging now.
I say next time we get this building, we do some renovations. We get a bat pole going down to the sewer so we can get out of here.
But if you wanted, you could actually. There's like a cherry picker. So if you came up to normal size, you could get a cherry picker to move one of the spools of wire.
Well, if I can see them, they can see me, so I'm kind of more hoping to do this without them being aware that anything has happened in here. And then can kind of, use it as a surprise. A landmine, if you will.
I see. You have 4 competency dice, so if you wanted to spend one of those competency dice to stunt your power in that way, I'd say go for it.
That sounds great. Go ahead and get one of the big spools. Those are the things in the lower right corner, I think you were saying?
Yes, sir.
And then just put it in front of the big doors, the loading doors, and then later on, I can go ahead and let loose the whatever chemical reaction or technological reaction this is based off of, so it'll grow back to size.
All right. You need to beat a 9.
Okay.
My technology roll came out as a 9.
Okay. 6 and a 5. Yeah.
6.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So you definitely shrink that down, and then you place it where you want. So there you go. And your technology roll was a 9. You start noticing.
I get all 3 dice, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Just want to double check. So 9, yes.
So you get. As you're going to the roof, checking for security, you notice that your security systems are on a backup, so you have access to stuff. And as you're reviewing the feed, you notice that the entire neighborhood is blacked out.
Okay.
So it looks like they cut. It looks like they cut this
far enough that I can't reboot anything.
Yeah, it's neighborhood wide. Like you can see like other businesses and stuff like that. They're already like scrambling to try and get power back on because once again you are in the meat packing district, and if the power is out, there's only so long that a backup generator is going to keep large amounts of meat like that frozen for transport.
about 4 blocks away in the sky, there is this really bright source of light.
Yes.
Looks like it's coming towards you.
You do see Burnout heading right at you.
Okay.
I can move at about 400 miles per hour, and I can lift about 200 pounds, so I figure I can grab a spool of that wire, not necessarily the whole thing, but, unwind a bunch of that wire, move out there, and run it along pretty much underneath all of the SUVs, and kind of light it up using my electricity and conduct it through all of them.
Okay. You want to try that?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
So is that going to be super speed or electrical control?
Can I interject over here? The demon face guy that's got like a problem with authority. Have these guys done anything yet?
Yeah, that's my question. Is I haven't heard them actually get out of the car or do anything. That's the reason I haven't taken offensive action.
Yeah, you just have 8 SUVs sitting there. Nobody's done anything yet.
Wouldn't you feel bad if that was like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. showing up to offer us all jobs? And be, sorry. Sorry, we blew your shit up.
Yeah. Thus, defensive actions only so far.
This is a demonstration of our capabilities.
Based off of a pulse that I actually did 540 hours, this is actually really in character for that pulse.
Yes, so... Yeah, we played 540 hours with that pulse. Very true. And the description's actually, it's funny. You're a mutant with electricity powers. He was a power suit character, but most of your powers have lined up. The only difference is electricity because we had another character that was electricity. And so that's just really funny.
So you have all of these SUVs just outside. And like I said, they're not really doing anything yet. They're just sitting there. So what do you do?
Are they revving their motors? Because if they're like, rum, 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 we might be like, okay, they're bad guys.
Well, at the very least, if I'm moving that fast, they probably can't get a good look at me, so I can at least string up the wire underneath all of them and hold off on shocking the hell out of them.
So you're going to fly at 400 miles an hour, doing hairpin turns while carrying a cable at 400 miles an hour.
Oh, I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Yeah, there's a dust storm around the SUV suddenly, guys.
All right,
so
gravel storm. The brightest.
Gravel storm. Oh, don't worry. Just like Nick, I had to do plenty of cleanup of his stuff.
All right, so
I'm very practiced at it.
you're going to, at first, do your athletics at 2D, and you need to get a 10 in order to lift the wire.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Yeah.
I see a big impact crater out there from our volleyball game last week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we need to explain to Thorn what not to do during a volleyball game. Mainly not to super leap.
Okay, it was a spike. Okay, it was
Spike
a spike.
the ball.
Can I go ahead and put the competency dice in that?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a little competitive when it comes
Roll
to
one more.
Ah, darn it.
I learned after the first time not to invite him to my mini golf course.
Okay, so you go to lift the wire, and it's a little heavier than you thought. It's also rusted onto the spool, so you're having a hard time getting it off.
Okay.
You have a hard time getting it off.
Now, what are the rest of you guys doing?
Go ahead.
Basically, I assume I'm there by now.
Yes, and you see red wall on top of the building?
So I am going to basically hover in place about 2 stories above the roof of our building, right over the, sort of in front of and over the SUVs. So my icon's not on the screen, so I can't put
I'm going to put it up there right now. So you're going to be hovering in the middle?
Well, between the building and the SUVs.
Okay.
But again, up, so I can get a pretty good look at them. And also, pretty well illuminating, yeah. So I'm probably like right about here.
The SUVs are as they're shown?
Yep, that's how they're parked.
Okay.
What do you mean they haven't done anything? They're obstructing traffic. Shock the crap out of them, Pulse.
I have a little fire icon on you just to say that you're flaming and in the air.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oops. Wrong
He's
button.
trying to say you're smoking.
Yeah.
All right. So
I am always hot.
you're flying up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
You have right here is Redwall.
Yep.
And like I said, they're just sitting there.
This is weird.
Redwall.
I'm going to change my plan unless somebody else has an action.
I do have an action.
Go ahead.
I did mention that I brought my tablet with me.
Mhm.
I would like to, at this point, utilize either our connection, our access through official channels, or I'm going to hack the telephone company or something, basically, and check for incoming communications into those SUVs or outgoing.
Go ahead and make a technology roll.
Sure thing. Yep, that is a 3 die. That's an 11.
Oh yeah, easy. So you notice there's no communications going back and forth from the different vehicles, but using your surveillance system, you do notice that the vehicles are reacting weird to some of your cameras.
How so?
Every once in a while, the video of the SUVs shimmer.
There's something odd about those SUVs. They're not showing up on cameras correctly. I send that through comms.
I think you're right. There is something odd. They shouldn't be parked like that.
Do we know if anyone's actually inside them?
I'll go take a look, and I will dive down and basically take a pass right past the front of all of these things, and just look through the windshield.
There are people in them.
Are they mysteriously identical people by any chance?
No.
Do they flinch when a bright plasma flame flies by their front?
Surprisingly, no.
What the heck?
And there was no outgoing radio signal of any sort to, like, say, you know, mothership, we're here, kind of thing,
No,
right?
nothing like that.
Okay.
So what do you do next?
I'm playing nice still. I'm still playing nice, not being aggressive. But at this point, Redwall would like to lift one of those SUVs.
So you're going to focus your power on one of them?
Yes.
Yeah. While she's doing that, I'm going to land right there and knock on the window. Not melting it, just knock.
Redwall, go ahead and roll.
Tug on this wire.
You're still tugging on the wire.
Yep.
Redwall, go ahead and roll a power check. And
Okay. What I am doing specifically is I am utilizing my force grid armor capabilities to basically generate a flat surface of force underneath the carriage of the car, and then I'm going to basically claw it up on either side to create a pincer.
got it.
Okay. So I'm making
Do it up.
and
So you're Invisible Woman in this, which would leave me being Mr. Fantastic, and then there's Pulse.
so for powers, how many dice do I get to keep?
All powers you keep all. The only time you betray dice is when you're using skills or anything mundane.
Okay. Well, wow, that is 17.
You go to reach out, and normally there's like a feedback that you feel when you grip onto something with your powers.
But they're not actually there.
They're not actually there. And just as you do that, Burnout goes to knock, and his hand passes right through.
They're
It's a
holograms.
distraction.
Maybe they're just on a phase of our time continuum, and these people need our help.
They're holograms. I'm wondering about a generator immediately.
I haul back to our HQ into our control room.
Okay.
As fast as I can.
Burnout, what are you doing?
I want to see if they are all holograms or just a couple. So basically, I just want to fly sort of like basically right along the list and just sort of tap the hoods of them as they go by.
Okay.
And just see if they're all material or not.
To the one that's material, actually, the headlights pop out. You get hit with like 70-volt, like.
Clearly, Pulse should have lit them up. Pulse had the right idea, guys.
As always.
And I said I was willing to clean up.
You start knocking, and as you knock, each one disappears until you see there's a little. It's hard to describe. It looks like a big remote control car with two prongs sticking out of the front of it.
So it's forklift.
No. It's small, real small. Probably about 2 feet long and.
That thing's huge.
Yeah, I can shrink it down, but then you wouldn't be able to see it.
What the heck?
It's small. It's about the size of a big remote control car.
And does it look like a vehicle, or is it just some gizmo with prongs sticking out of it?
It's just some gizmo with prongs sticking out of it.
Touch the prongs. Touch the prongs.
I want to fly over to it and start checking it out from the inside.
Oh, right, touch the prongs.
So you fly out of the warehouse and go that way?
Yeah, I'm going to call out that I'm going to check out this device.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have video on our comms or just audio?
No, but you have cell phones.
Okay, I snap a picture of this thing and send it to the doc.
Okay. And Redwall, your phone goes off.
I take a look at it.
All right.
And
this is what was apparently projecting the holograms, or was the only physical thing here.
Okay.
All right. Right about now, Thorn shows up.
Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to access the control room, make certain that using our surveillance system and whatnot, that there's been no other attempt on entry or distraction anywhere else on base.
Make a technology roll.
Sure thing. I seem to be making a lot of those rolls.
It's going to come in handy.
Oh, that sucks.
You never want to hear that.
I rolled 1-6.
It's not as bad as you think. You actually do make it.
Okay.
And you notice that your surveillance seems to be clear, but the time code's wrong.
Okay, how wrong is the time code?
About
10 minutes.
And if she keeps watching the time code, does it suddenly reset to 10 minutes ago again?
Say again, please.
Sorry. Is it looped? We should be able to tell just...
That's what I was just about to call out.
Yep.
So I call out into comms. Our security system's been hacked. We've been compromised. I believe we've been infiltrated. We need everyone on the base.
I'm going to just run the perimeter real quick and see what I can see all up and down the area.
Okay.
Pulse, can you get us an internal sweep?
Yep.
All right, so Pulse, you're going to start what do you call it? Flying through the base or running through the base and see if anything's there.
See what I can see that seems out of place, other than the keg that's overturned from last night.
Thorn walks up to Flame Man. Burn. So this is what we're missing Ant-Man for. This thing right here. This thing right here. And he reaches down and grabs it and lifts it up.
I scream as they suddenly rock my world.
That's right. Blue Sparrow is in that.
It's like, wait.
Never disrupt the experiment when it's in process.
Sorry, man. I'll buy the beers later, okay?
All right, so you're on the inside, Sparrow, and you're looking at the circuitry, and with your technological background as well, you can tell that the circuitry is pretty advanced for something so small. I mean, normally a common circuit board is pretty standard in remote control cars, but this one is very very advanced. You're seeing a lot of retread. You're seeing a lot of redundant systems. For something so small, it shouldn't have this much redundancy in it.
Hi, well, I've worked for Infinidyne. I've got 3 dice in technology, and I've got an occupation which I'm not really certain how to apply it, but physics researcher. I'm wondering, can I identify a likely company of origin? I'm specifically wondering about Infinidyne since we called them with information, and suddenly this starts happening.
I think that's a great idea, and I think you should roll your technology to see if you can identify it.
Can I get the 1 die from the occupation, or how does that advantage work?
The occupation would let you make rolls and use equipment where you don't have skills. So this is not one of those things. So you can just go ahead and roll technology.
I have a 9.
Oh, more than enough. You notice that the circuitry, most circuitry of this type, usually has a small stamp just to say, hey, this is proprietary, or this is standard, or what have you. Makes it easier to repair. What's that?
A big stamp, you mean?
Yeah. Especially to you right now. This doesn't have any of that marker, except there's some weird writing on one side that you can't identify. It doesn't look like a symbol, but it doesn't look like writing you've seen either.
All right, quick click with the cell phone to take a picture of it.
Okay. And who do you send that out to?
I'm going to keep it on my phone, and I'm going to head over to well, actually, can you guys give me a lift to Redwall?
Right now, I'm standing out there yelling at Byrne, basically holding this thing in one hand like a basketball and pointing it as a finger repeatedly. We missed Ant-Man for this! And the entire time I'm shaking the thing.
It's making your cell phone pictures kind of blurry. All right, so what do you guys do? Do you bring this to the dock?
Well, the dock currently is trying to fix the video feed to unloop it, by the way, when you get a chance to let me do that.
Yep,
to see, to see what's been going on. Question, am I able to utilize the advantage of being on the base and in, at the main console, because I have paid advantage of 2 dice for that.
Yep,
so I don't know how. Okay, great.
So add another dice to your technology.
Just 1, not 2.
Yep, just 1.
Okay, great. Glad I asked. So that's 13.
Okay. Yeah, you unloop the feed, and now you're seeing a very large demonic entity outside, tapping what looks like a remote control car. Burnout standing in front, arguing with him, and at some point you see, if you zoom in far enough, that sticking out of that remote control car is Blue Sparrow. So you notice that the feed is lining up with what you hear in your headset.
Great. Next thing I do is turn it inwards. Start searching. Start using the surveillance system on the inside of the building.
Okay. A few minutes goes by, and you start seeing.
Vault first.
Yep, nothing in there. But you see, if you look at the base level of the warehouse right now, um, you have these huge dynamos right here. Can you see those? Can you see where it's pinging?
Yep.
There's distortion over there being picked up by the camera.
Okay. So yeah, I will call that out. What did you say those are exactly?
Those are dynamos. They're
Okay,
they're kind of like
dynamo.
old generators.
Okay.
When I get done arguing with Burn, I'm going to take this contraption. I'm going to take it down the end of the block and toss it in one of those garbage buckets.
On
With Bluebird in it.
I don't know she's in there.
I've told you 3 times.
No, what? I'm not omnipotent. I can't hear you.
I'm
On
standing
comms?
right next to you. Why can't you hear me?
Because I'm arguing about Ant-Man now. This is all BS.
On comms, I say south side of the dynamos. There's someone hiding there.
I'll rush over to it.
All right, so that's Pulse going over. Go ahead and move yourself. All right, so how fast do you go over there?
400 miles an hour. Do it.
Quick enough to get there, but not enough to really fast enough to where if anyone's tapped into like our systems, they're not going to get away, but not fast enough to really stir up anything in the building, cause major destruction while I'm running through our hideout.
Gotcha. Well, the first thing you do when you reach that area is, hold on one second. So you hit something. You hit 2 somethings actually. So
Ping, ping.
you kind of get like a 7-10 split, like you're bowling, and you knock down 2 men. They appear like they're wearing military-grade armor with submachine guns.
Uh-oh.
They get hit and immediately go down. You hear, because of your speed and the trajectory with which you hit them, you catch them in a way to where armor does really good against bullets, but something your size hitting them that fast, you hear snap, crackle, pop, and they hit the deck. And then you hear like the shuffling of feet around you and see a distortion in the air all around you. And this would be the time when you roll for initiative.
How do we do that?
That's easy.
Reaction roll.
Yes, very good. You're either going to roll your reaction, or if you have super speed, you can roll that as well. So either one of those. So we have the doctor at 8.
I'm in the dumpster before I get to act.
Oh my God! All right, so burnout with 8 as well. We got Jay.
I'm having some trouble working the dice thing.
How many in your reaction?
Well, I'm trying to make it 4 on the. It's overloading me with dice here.
What it is you go into settings and tell it to clear previous.
Okay.
So in settings panel, go and fix those settings, and once you hit a
before
clear.
new roll. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, 11.
I'm still at 4, but I was just testing something.
All right, so you're at 4.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Pulse, you're right there, and you're fast. What do you do?
About how many people do I think are there? Because I know that some of them are kind of shimmering.
A lot. You're now that you can kind of gauge them. You can see the rough outlines, but when they're standing in front of each other, it's hard to tell where one ends and one begins. So you're looking maybe 10.
Okay.
And they still haven't really done anything yet, right?
No, other than him knocking out 2 of them
Yeah.
by running into them at
Well, they
warp
could
speed
be
stupid.
friendly.
Illegal breaking and entering.
And trespassing.
It's the government. Yeah, they don't care. They got black helicopters.
No, so I'm just gonna, reach out and zap somebody.
All right.
Hopefully that'll kind of short out the suit and we can start seeing what we're dealing with.
Go ahead and roll your power and subtract 2 from the roll because they're hard to see. They're not
Now,
totally
Walt,
invisible.
In a system like this, when he's taking that action, could he instead say, I want to go ahead and try and overload the invisibility and attack that instead of just trying to knock them out?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely, and I would totally allow that. So, yep, you can actually do that based on the narrative.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do is short the suit.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your action.
Yeah, 8.
8. You manage to short out one of them, and he's standing right there. But you know that he's surrounded by others. So you guys are down on this end, and you notice him knock 2 guys down on the ground. They're wearing like military hard armor, and they go from translucent, kind of like predator looking to that predator style invisibility to like seeing actual men in hard armor. So what do you guys do when you see a third guy appear out of nowhere? The first one up would be either the Doc or Burnout. Burnout's there. Doc, you're upstairs, right?
Doc is inside, yeah. So Doc's going to head out.
All right. They're just downstairs. They're inside the warehouse.
Okay. And I saw no other location where these are, right?
Not yet.
Okay. Taking my tablet with me for remote surveillance and setting a quick alert as I run downstairs for similar disruptions.
Okay. And then Burnout?
All right. So this stuff just north of the dynamos, can I see over that, or?
Just show it to me again, please.
How do I indicate something? Like
just
this
press and hold.
Press and hold. So this stuff here.
Yep.
What is
that's
that?
Just it's kind of like rigging that the dynamos were sitting on. It looks like there might have been another dynamo there at some point, but was removed.
Okay, so it's not blocking my sight or anything, right?
No.
All right. I am going to send a plasma bolt, basically aiming sort of here, with the assumption there's probably at least 1 or 2 of those guys in that general vicinity.
Okay, hit it.
Alrighty. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Walt, has another question. What is
Sure.
it that the 2 that we saw come up are standing on? It's not one of the pillars,
That's
but
not
it's
right.
also around the pillar.
It's like a sewer grate, kind of like.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought.
Yep.
Hey, let me try that again.
I don't
There
remember
we go.
seeing
There we
that.
go.
So,
10, 15, 16.
The plasma bolt strikes out, and you see the heat disrupt some of the. There are like men standing here, but it doesn't look like they've been hit. But it disrupts the chameleon field a little bit as it passes, so you can see that they're there.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 men standing right here that you hit, dead square. They're going to try and defend. And I am going to roll that down here because it's just easier.
Wow.
No, you managed to
rolled a
short
16.
circuit. Yeah, you managed to short circuit some of the armor, but you hit one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them you crack him like dead in the chest. There's the smell of like burning carbide and plastic, and he goes down hard. That would be burn. On their action, they just start appearing.
I love the smell of burning plastic in the morning.
Please take a competency dice for that very terrible joke, and for reminding me of my childhood in Apocalypse Now. So yeah, they start appearing. There's looks to be about 10 of them. So now we have Thorn. What do you do?
Oh, I'm gonna step around over here, and that little 2-foot thing right there, I'm gonna throw at these guys right down there. Just gonna throw it. Wow.
What are you throwing?
That
Me.
little 2-foot armor vehicle.
He's throwing the robot, which has Sparrow in it.
Oh, that's so not right.
Hold on, I have a question.
Yes.
Quick question about the system. How do ready to actions and team up work? Basically, like if they decided to coordinate so that he was throwing this thing just as she was coming out of shrink mode with the little gadget or something,
Right.
and so she would go and thump him. How would something like that work in the system?
Oh, that's easy. So that's basically just another assist. So he would make his role to make the throw and be dynamically awesome as he throws really bad puns and slurs about Ant-Man. And then what would happen next is if he's successful in the throw, that would add dice to whatever it is that Sparrow did next.
How does it affect initiative, though, is my question. Do they have to be, delaying to act on the same, or basically he can throw right now? Okay, so he can throw right now, and she can decide to trigger it, trigger that?
Yep, absolutely. So basically, one action triggers the other, so that it's just basically an assist, and so it would just throw things back into the top of the round. But luckily, Blue Sparrow got a 3, so she's actually acting initially right after Thorn, so it's one right after the other, which works really well.
Okay, because that's just a good example of something that would be cool. Fastball special. There we go.
Yep, fastball special, and that's the way it works in the game. So you're basically saying, you're using one action to set up another. It's really all that is. It's really easy.
That's good.
So go ahead, Thorn.
What do I have to roll? Athleticism, or can I use my super strength? Or...
You can use either athleticism or super strength. Totally up to you.
Well, I will use super strength. And can I use that extra competency dice on that?
Absolutely. So you're going to go 6d6?
I am going to go 6d6.
Good lord.
Against a bunch of mooks.
So Blue Sparrow...
How's that?
Wow. That's going to be messy. So...
They interrupt me, and I'm pissed.
So first thing...
You're gonna see it, man!
First thing is that Blue Sparrow really needs to roll an athleticism roll. Just to make sure that at the end of this, her neck isn't going to be broken. So just to give people an idea of exactly what him throwing that little toy car is like. So he's got a 5D in super strength. That means that if he really wanted to, he could throw a bus like a baseball. So yeah, there's that.
Splat.
I'm kind of thinking that Blue Sparrow is currently experiencing what it's like to launch off a steam catapult on an aircraft carrier.
Something like that.
I was thinking that he was carrying about 12 Gs right now. Dealing with 12 Gs of gravity.
What came to my mind, there's a text from Superheroes and about Wolverine asking about giving a picture superpowers so it could be fastball special to the moon.
All right, so go ahead and make that athleticism roll.
Hi. Can I use my flight in some way to aid this as I fly around in my narrow corridors to try and mitigate the damage that will happen to me?
That was expertly explained, and I highly encourage it.
Before he rolls that, I have a question. Another one. So my action hasn't come up yet.
Yes, it has.
Just because
Okay,
you're upstairs,
sorry.
and that's what you did. You
Yeah,
came downstairs.
Okay, so my question is if there is any way for me to set up an interpose or an assist, basically, with my powers, seeing that this is happening and knowing my team, to try and basically save her life.
So let me make sure I got this right. I throw something at 18 G's of force, and you're gonna put up a wall to stop it.
No, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not actually going to use a wall of force.
Oh, that would be
So
awesome.
So you're gonna do an assist to make sure that Blue Sparrow comes out of this without broken anything.
What I am going to do is I am going to use my energy control to slow down the velocity as it's basically coming down to impact by creating rails of force energy that are shifting back and forth underneath this cart, and therefore slowing the impact in the front end.
Just take a competency dice just for that description alone. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
So add a temporary competency dice for that, and go ahead, Brandon, make a flight roll real quick.
Okay. Any bonus from the athleticism, or I'm just getting flight instead of?
You're just getting flight instead, and then we're going to.
And can I use competency die to bump that in some way?
Oh yeah, yep. So go ahead and just add it right to the roll.
All right. So that's 1-for-1 basis.
Yep.
All right. Then we'll roll this, which shouldn't be as. Nope, that's a lot of dice. Let me clear that up. It said 4. There we go. So we got 7. We're at 10.
10.
Which still sounds not very good.
Nope.
Well, I still need to roll my roll for you, right?
And now the doc comes in and rolls some force, and we'll see what happens.
I'm actually going to use that competence die that you gave me for this.
Okay, go ahead.
Ooh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's 20.
That's really good.
That's 20 right there.
All right. So as we're looking at the
I rolled it up for you.
at the map, he throws the little toy car, and it basically goes right at this, in between this girder. So these guys here, and had just started getting back up when Thorn threw the toy car. As the toy car goes in, the doc is coming down here and sees this all going on and decides, I don't mind if I send these mooks to jail. Don't want to go to Blue Sparrow's funeral today. Creates that zone of force that mitigates the force, but instead of just slowing it down, it spreads it out, and all of these mooks get bowled over like a bowling pin. Pulse, you need to make a roll, either athleticism or super speed. I highly recommend super speed because you're very fast. You need to make a roll to make sure that you can stay on your feet.
Okay.
Yeah,
12.
Authority. Yeah.
A 12?
Yep.
Okay, you are on your feet, and you probably moved out of this area, so you're probably over here, or move your character wherever you want to go. All right. So yeah, all of these guys get bowled over and are knocked down. What do you do next? So coming to the top of the batting order, that would be Pulse again.
Do I see any more like shimmers in the area at all?
Nope. It looks pretty clear. Plus, there's a lot of dust and shimmering light from your plasma, basically superheating particles in the air from the blast before, combined with the force screen that the doc just threw down, and just a ton of testosterone coming off of Thorn. So anything that would have been in the area would probably be revealed by now.
I want to go ahead and run my scanner on the testosterone waves just to get an accurate scientific reading.
Please don't. All right, so that would be Pulse. You're up next. Do you see? Is there anything that you want to do at this point?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and run through the building again and just look for any telltale shimmers as I'm doing so, just to be on the safe side.
Okay. Go ahead and move yourself to the top of the what do you call it? Excuse me. Yeah, just somewhere up in there. That's fine. And then that's going to go and yep, that's fine. And go ahead and just hold the rest of that because all you did was a move action right now. And then we're going to go down to either the dock or burn up. Which one of you has the higher reaction?
I only have a 2.
I've got a 3.
Okay, so go ahead. Yep, you're up first.
I'm going to go over to this guy. I have my damage aura turned on but not turned up, if you know what I mean.
Gotcha.
And they've just been kind of rattled, but they're not unconscious yet, right?
They're in the process of getting up. All but this guy, who looks pretty much cooked. He does not look like he's getting back up anytime soon.
Yeah. So basically, I am grabbing this guy, certainly by the straps on his uniform or whatever.
Gotcha.
Holding him up, starting to flare with flame. It's like, all right, who the hell are you?
Ooh.
All right. Doc, what are you doing at the same time?
So I've basically at this point utilized the energy control for the round, is my understanding, because of my assist, right?
No, that was last. That was last because basically you held your action.
Okay.
Because you were technically just coming down the stairs.
Okay. Then in this case, well, I check for more mooks because the mooks are clearly dealt with over here at this point. So yeah, I'm going to go through the security system and check for more mooks. I am specifically, by the way, swapping to infrared.
Gotcha. Make a technology roll to go to infrared.
And don't look at me.
Yeah. Or pulse.
Don't look at you. And that is 4. That is a 5. That sucks.
You don't see anything in your field of view that is coming up on the infrared. Go ahead and let's see. You don't have it. How about pulse? Nope. All right, so both of you go ahead and roll a 1d6 because this is untrained, and you're looking for roll high. This is an aptitude. You're looking awareness.
Okay.
Got a 5.
I got a 4.
Okay. Both of you do notice this. Okay, so Pulse, you were coming up the stairs, and then Doc, you were coming down the stairs. There was pretty much right here is where the door is going into the control center that you guys came out of from the first scene. You notice like not really dust prints, but smudges on the wall at about head height that you know weren't there before. Looks like dirt or grime or something like that.
At head height?
Yeah, at about head height, so about right where your shoulder or head would be, along the wall, and then on the what do you call it? The door frame leading into the control room.
I haul back into the control room again. I've been spending a lot of time in here.
Pulse, what do you do noticing that?
So it's just like smudges, like something brushed by.
Yep. So think about that because your action comes up on 4. We have that was 8. Burn up. You already went, right?
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
interrogating the guy.
Yep, that's right. You're interrogating. He sits there and he screams at the top of his lungs. Oh, 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 oh. He's like, espera, espera, espera. He's like, no hablo inglés.
Yeah, I basically just throw him into the guy behind him.
Okay.
Useless.
That would bring us to Pulse. What are you doing?
So I enter in the other room and I'm like, come out, wherever you are.
All right, so you guys are both going in there?
Yep.
Okay. Thorn, you see everybody go upstairs and start heading back into the control room in a rush. I think we lost him. Oliver, you still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, okay. You notice everybody going up into the control room in a rush.
Okay. I guess I slowly walk after him, just shaking my head as I'm going up the stairs.
All right. Blue Sparrow, you just flew out, managed to assist in that clever bowling accident that somehow made it into epic levels of awesome. What are you doing now that you see that everybody is heading back into the control room?
Well, can I interject? Because once I see her pop out of there, I'm like, oh, hey, what color hair is her? What color hair does she have?
Brown.
Brownish. Yeah, I can't go. Hey, brown-haired girl. Hey, Auburn. Sorry about that. Didn't know you were in there. Accidents happen, and then start going up the stairs a little faster.
Hopefully
Pay more attention to your comm. We provided it to you for a reason, Thorn.
And now you just got to pray that she doesn't shrink something you might need.
It's demon size. It's all right.
All right. So
these guys are still recovering?
Oh yeah, they're trying to stand up. It looks like it's kind of like getting hit in the head real hard. They're trying to get their bearing, but it's not looking really well for them.
Do they have military armaments, guns and such?
Yes.
All right, start taking them away from some of them. Go back to a normal size and start kicking guns away from them on the ones I can.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you can get the guns away from them because, like I said, it's like. Have you ever been in a car accident, like a bad car accident, and you get out and you're stumbly and just all you hear is that like beeping in your ear? You figure that's pretty much what's going on with these guys right now.
Well, there were some rings actually in the lower left. Are those things that we can like pick up and use them like the whole tire entangle?
That's bundles of loose wire. So you could probably, it's not a full spool, but you could use those to start tying them down. Is that what you're going to do?
Sure thing.
All right.
Hey, Walt, real quick.
Yes.
I'm taking a look at is it Super Strength from the book, and
Yep.
I'm like, is there a dinosaur fetish in there somewhere? I mean,
Because you can throw a triceratops and stuff.
Yeah, Stegosaurus, Brontosaurus, Diplodocus, Argentinosaurus. I'm like, someone have a small children or they like dinosaurs?
One of the writers is actually a doctor of literature who teaches school children. So yeah, there you go.
I am brilliant. Yes.
All right, so you guys are back in the control room, and you guys should be entering right about here. All right, so if you want to go ahead and position yourself, I'll move Sparrow because it looked like he stepped away for a second.
Yeah, he did, but he can hear you. He's just got
I already moved his avatar, so he's all set.
So yeah, I'd be going up to that to make certain that everything's safe and nothing's compromised.
All right, go ahead.
Sparks off the end of my fingertips.
All right.
We wanna play?
Actually, Sparrow is downstairs. Put him off that way. All right. When you get up to this command console that's right here, you notice it's looks like somebody's running a code variation on it, like somebody's trying to break in. You also notice in one of the USB ports, it looks like a thumb drive.
Unplug the first abort the code, then unplug the thumb drive. I don't want any failsafe to blow up the system first.
Are you going to safely remove?
Yeah.
What's that?
Safely
Yeah,
remove.
safely
You don't want to damage the data.
Yeah,
I'm more concerned about the failsafe. That blows things up.
Hopefully these things don't run on Windows. So you stop the code search, and it's fairly rudimentary code, but it's much more than the level of like you might find in like a teen hacker. So it's somebody with skill, just not a tremendous amount of it. And then take out the thumb drive. The thumb drive looks like, especially with your expertise, Redwall, it looks like something that might broadcast via Bluetooth.
Okay. So the person receiving this should be nearby. So
most likely, yep.
Is there? For our comm system, do we have a visual thing at all? Like some visual, if I could type them a message. Oh, actually, send out a mass text real quick using the console, not pulling out my phone.
Yep.
Because I'm trying to be inconspicuous. I send out a mass text of search the room. They're still here.
Rather than rely on my sight, I'm just going to run back and forth in the room real quick, so I should hit whoever's there.
Hey, it worked once before, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that, but please add a temporary competency die for a neat use of a power. It's kind of like radar where you can get hurt. Go for it.
All right.
So roll your super speed.
Uh, 12.
All right, and where'd you go? There you are. Right about there. You do run into something. You basically running in at 45-degree angle, kind of running in toward the 2 o'clock. You bound into this person wearing a black and white suit with kind of like spirals going on. It's a full body suit, mostly covered, covered from head to toe, but it's kind of like a sneak suit almost. So very reminiscent. I am going to put a link in the chat window, and it's very reminiscent of Lady Bullseye from Marvel Comics. Not exact, but maybe she read a Daredevil and ripped it off. You hit her, knock her like into the console that's behind her, and then She doesn't talk, though. She doesn't say anything when you do that. She just gets into what looks like a fighting pose.
Are we resuming the same initiative or rolling new ones?
That's up to you guys. So if you want to roll a totally new initiative, I'm cool. If you want to stay with the old, I'm cool with that too.
Well, seeing as me and Blue sucked, I think we probably want to roll again.
Go for it. Let me know what you get.
Rolling again, it sounds like.
Trying to remember what my competency, or what is it?
9. I went up by 1.
9 for the doc.
Ooh. 14?
14 for Burn.
9.
For Pulse. Gotcha. Go ahead.
Aha! Much better than last time. 9!
There's going to be a lot of reaction checking going on. And Blue?
I guess I'll roll.
You're right, Jay?
9!
The ninjas got him.
All right, so now I need to know who's got the higher reaction. Doc, what's your reaction?
2.
2. And Blue, what's your reaction? Oh, dear God. Pulse?
4.
Did the ninjas get you? Are you okay? No. And then Thorn, what's yours?
Yeah, the floor grabbed him.
What's your Thorn's reaction?
2.
2. Oh dear God! Please don't make me roll off between you guys tying. All right, so between the Doc, Blue, and Thorn, who wants to go first? Because you all have the same initiative and the same reaction.
I'll go.
I'll last.
Nope, I said it first.
I'll go mid.
I guess I'll go first.
Doc, you're up.
I'm up. I am going to go Force Cage her.
Never goes first.
You're gonna
So,
force kick her?
no, Force Cage her. So I am going
gotcha.
to move over and I am going to generate basically this red net of energy around her. And things just start getting really heavy inside that net around her. Really, really heavy, and all of a sudden she can't even lift her legs as the net starts to close in around her. The grid starts
Nice.
to close in around her.
Go for it.
Okay? Well, that's not too bad. That is a 14.
14. Okay, and she is going to try and defend. 11. So, the Doc comes up, puts a force cage around her, and gravity just increases, and she looks like she's not having a good time of it. Looks like she's struggling against something. Also looks like she might be trying to activate some sort of internal power, but it's not working for her. There's a little shimmer as the device that Pulse ran into was semi-broken. It crushes under the weight of your force wall and just shuts off automatically. So there's no shimmer to her at all. It looks like whatever chameleon ability she had is now gone. Blue, you said you wanted to go mid? Oh, I'm sorry. Burnout has a 14. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Burn.
Well, I mean, I'm still downstairs, and I have not heard about this yet, so...
You're hearing about it now inside the headset.
You got a text from me saying,
Oh,
search the room,
right.
they're still here.
Okay, yeah, in that case, I actually... I want to do I think I can do this with my energy control. Basically do a plasma burst, which forces out from me and just sweeps the entire room. So we showed that this would short out the chameleon field. So if there's anybody else downstairs, it should pop them.
Gotcha. Go for it.
Alrighty.
Just to play devil's advocate, will that set on fire, like, I don't know, our backup generators, the tires in the corner, the spools of anything else down here flammable?
Not if he does it low yield.
Okay.
Like I said, you guys, those generators are long since shut down. There's nothing running through them, and the wire is heavy gauge steel wire, so there's really nothing here that he's going to set on fire. This is more like a quick burst of static.
Right.
And what was the roll?
13?
13. There is down at that manhole cover at the other side that you guys saw before. I'll bring that up real quick. I got to tell you, Roll20 makes splitting the party really easy. You have that manhole cover down here.
Okay.
Standing next to it is a behemoth of a man. Probably as big as Thorn. Covered in like a black skin suit, and then with metallic looking arms, almost kind of like Colossus looking. If you've ever seen the Marvel Comics character Cyber, it looks like that. I just put a picture of it in the chat window. So
Yep.
he kind of looks like that. It's a big dude. And you reveal him, and he just sits there, gives you kind of like a look back, looks up, looks back, and kind of like lowers his head as he's about to run at you.
He looks at you. You looking at me? I don't see anybody else looking. You must be looking at me.
Now you can see me. All right. So then, Blue Sparrow, you're up. What do you do? You're up. You're still upstairs, correct?
No, I was downstairs. I was tying up and kicking weapons away from these guys.
All right. You see that big dude.
All right. I take a look and pat out my burning hair real quick.
Sorry.
And then over comms, I'm going to call out that we have Thorn's dancing partner for the night downstairs. I'll shrink up, fly over to him, and as it looks like he's about to give a bolt charge, I'm going to do one right across his nose with my claws.
Nice. Go for it.
It's gonna be a wasp thing, yeah.
All right, we have 17 with claws on the nose.
Holy crap. Let's see. That's going to be a tough one. Ooh, no. All right, so you got a 17. He got a 10, and the way damage works in supers, the defender always gets to decide how the damage is applied, but to do damage, damage is done in multiples. There's two ways the damage system can work, one legit and then one optional. The first way is you roll and then I roll. For every 6 over me that you get, you take another point away of one of my attributes, or rather one of my resistances. The old way was in multiples of a certain number going over the defense roll, and it was okay.
It used to be for every 6 basically you would take a die off of them.
Yeah.
Or you would take a multiplier off. And then you would apply defenses and then lose dice.
Yep. So new way is a little easier, just, it rolls a little quicker. So you blast over him pretty good. There's a huge rake across his face, ripping off some of the mask. You don't have awareness, but go ahead and roll a 1d6 for awareness, and that would
The mighty 2.
you don't notice anything other than his size, which is enormous. At least as big as Thorn, especially at your current height. It's really hard to tell exactly how big he is, but yeah, you notice he's big. So you rip up his face really bad, causes him to take a step back and step toward the wall. So that was Blue. Now going to Thorn, who is upstairs.
All right. So that.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. Pulse. Pulse is next.
I'm going to go ahead and use the split on my electrical control.
Okay,
And,
so you're going to split your action?
Yeah, and actually shoot out a couple of pulses towards the ninja lady.
Gotcha.
First one is going to be a 13. And the second one is going to be 15.
All right, so the second one was 15?
Yep.
All right, she manages to... You see like a flash or a flare of something, and the second one doesn't go through, but she definitely gets hit with the first one. And looks like the arc rips across the front of her upper chest, like near the shoulder area. Mm-hmm. Rips across her neck and rips a section of her mask off. You don't have awareness, but go ahead and roll a 1d6. See if you notice something.
5.
It's not a girl.
Right before she... No, it's a girl. Right before she blinks, there's a second eyelid that blinks shut first. Kind of like an inner eyelid on a bird. So that was Pulse. Going to Thorn now. What are you doing?
Right now, jalapeno pretzels, Snyder's of Hanover. Is what I'm doing this second. Sorry about that. Oh, my fault.
That's okay. What is Thorn doing other than
now it's turned at a pace. Give me a sec. All right, I got it down. Wow. Oh, okay. Did anybody say he's got a dance partner downstairs?
Yes.
All right.
That was called.
He slowly walks over here to the fridge, pops out a beer, pops it off with his horn, and begins to walk back this way to go down the stairs. Muttering the entire time, Ant-Man would have been better.
Add a competency dice for really bad taste in jokes. All right, so that was Thorn. Going back to the top of the order now, Doc.
I thought I went first.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Burn.
Yeah, let's see how flammable this guy really is.
Okay.
Whoosh. Whoosh is not very subtle.
Do that again.
Whoosh.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so that's 18, 19, 20, 21.
Dear God. All right.
Poor Walt. God damn it, they're not supposed to be kicking these guys' asses.
Jesus.
Oh. So let's see, that's 2 levels of success there, so...
Yeah, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So, you send out a plasma bolt, hits him square in the chest, erupts some of that, what do you call it, that kind of like skin suit thing he had going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he what do you call it? He drops to a knee. He's not looking like he's in good shape. All right, so
you might want to give up now.
now we go back to the dock.
So I look at the girl who else is with me at this point? Am I basically soloing her left?
No, I'm up there too.
You're still up there? Okay.
Yep.
So I look at her, and she's still being pulled down to the ground by the XSGs.
Yep.
And she's already fragged up a little bit. And I'm going to generate basically, I have, my powers include armor, but I'm not going to use it the way that you think. I'm going to generate suits of armor that basically look like myself, and I'm going to use it as energy control. I'm going to basically ram her with it. And I'm going to say, have you ever tried dancing with 2 lead feet?
I like it. Go for it.
$18.
Oh, you guys are evil. You're killing me tonight. I guess that's the point, but still not good.
And come on, I gave a good one-liner.
That was not bad, not bad. Oh God, you gotta be kidding me. All right, so you create this armored construct which floats down. Things go into slow motion a little bit. You know, there's a second where the slow motion returns to normal time as you yell out, "Ever tried dancing with 2 lead feet?" And then the slow-mo reenacts as it decks her right across the chin. The force grid that you're using to hold her down shatters, and that construct comes apart. She hits the back wall and goes down hard, unconscious.
Guess she needs a few more classes.
All right, Doc, going to Pulse, I believe.
Hey, Doc, help me check this out. She has a second set of eyelids.
Coming?
Force handles show you all sorts of things, right?
I move up and I examine with my medical ability.
Okay. Hold on to that for just a second. All right, that brings us to Blue.
He hasn't done anything?
Not yet.
Alright, I'm gonna look him up and down and say, well, normally we try and pair off based on appropriate height, but to paraphrase President Eisenhower, it's not the size of the dog that matters, it's the fight in the dog. Or fight in the bird. And then I'm gonna go into another question again.
Go ahead.
9-14.
Oh, the hell are you guys getting these dice? Oh, that's not good. There we go. What'd you get, a 14?
That is correct.
13. So you smash into him again as you fly by and rake him with your Talon gloves. Go ahead and make another awareness check. So roll a 1d6.
The mighty 2.
Yeah, he's still big. Yeah, you basically fly by again, throwing out the zippy one-liner of "not the dog, it's the fight," and then rip up his face going the other way, totally tearing off his mask. He looks just like a normal guy, but really, really big and metal arms. That was Blue. Thorn.
Sorry, I was muted. I continue to walk down the stairs, taking into, where's the guy supposed to fight?
If you run, You could reach him this round.
I see him over there. He's getting his butt kicked.
Yes.
Follow the barbecue.
All right. I'm going to take my beer bottle, and I'm going to throw it at him. And then I'm going to be like, "This bud's for you!" And then I'm going to jump into the fight.
All right. How are you fighting him?
Strength.
Okay, you're going to run right into him and give him the old one, too?
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's slobbering time.
No.
It's not clobbering, it's slobbering. Because that's what he's going to do when I get done with him.
Especially after all this beer.
All right, so I need to roll some dice.
Yes, sir.
I need to do some strength. How about that?
Dear God.
Let's
This
see.
guy hasn't actually gone yet.
I've got, let's see, 6, 5, 5, 6. Oof. Yeah, plus my other dice. Wow.
Ooh.
26.
Well, there you go.
Right as you reach him, he stops you kind of like kind of like a football player stopping another player coming in straight at him. And then he throws a punch.
All right. Well, I hope my armored hide helps.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't think, let's see. Nope.
All right, so he hits you. Where'd you go? He hits you. Basically stops you from coming, stops your charge, and then punches you pretty much in the chest.
Okay.
How are you going to address the damage? Which resistance are you going to use?
Well, what was I resisting? I thought I was resisting with armor right then.
Yeah, but once because it went over your armor, it actually is going to do damage.
Oh, okay.
So where do you want the damage applied? Which one of your resistances?
I guess fortitude.
Fortitude? Okay, so he hits you square in the chest. You fly across all of those mooks. You get, what do you call it? You bowl them back over and run right into the staircase, crumbling it into kindling.
All right.
And now you're down 1 on your fortitude.
Okay.
He stands up and in a very thick accent says, 3 on 1. Normally, not too good. This time, I like it. What else do you have?
So is that like a Russianish accent?
No, that was a super-powered Russian accent.
Exactly. What?
Time to be scared.
What do you do? That was Thorn. Goes back to
I
Burn.
put myself on key activation, Brandon.
Well, I always find party is better with barbecue.
Add a competency die. Go for it.
10, 15.
15.
Yes.
14.
Something wrong?
Go for it. All right, so you send out another bolt, screaming out about barbecue, which reactivates Thorn's interest in everything. You burn away the rest of the top half of that skein suit that he's wearing. He's got. This is when you notice that as the metal in his arms heats up from all the superheated plasma, it starts kind of displaying symbols that, when heated, come to the fore, kind of like when you saw symbols on the Lord of the Rings, on the inside of the ring thing, when it got hot. They're not wispy images like that. It look like it might be letters, but they're not letters that you recognize. And it goes up to both arms, and then when it gets to his His upper torso is pretty much metallic around the biceps and around the muscles in his back, but it's mostly skin underneath. But he's got this weird metallic like wire threading in and around him, and he's all of that is just like super hot, and he screams out in a little bit of pain, and then catches himself, almost not wanting to be seen as weak. That was Burn. Now we're going to the doc.
Yep, I am going to examine this the person with the double eyelids that I have here, and I'm also going to make certain that she's stable and that she's okay, because I don't like the idea of putting her into serious condition.
Oh, you walloped her. There was no question
well,
about
I mean,
it.
I don't want her dead. Hospitalized, arrested, that's fine. Dead or near dead, bad. So not critical.
Okay, go ahead and make a medical roll.
Sure thing.
You need a target of an 8.
Okay. Medical roll. Didn't make the 8. I clearly don't care enough.
Can I get like a little shock to her to kind of like simulate the eyelid movement to kind of help out with that?
You trying to for an examination?
Yeah, for this to kind of like get those eyelids moving to help with the examination and everything.
You're more concerned with the fact that she's pretty broken up than you would be getting the eyelids to move. What do you call it? The doc's medical assessment, based on her evaluation, based on his evaluation, is that this lady is effed the hell up. So that's the professional medical opinion. You notice the second eyelid looking that close? You can move a finger and get the eyelid to close. You wouldn't have to like juice her. But if you really want to shock her again, go for it.
Well, I should take the doctor's medical advice.
Zip tie her and get her moved to a place where we can get them taken out. And then I'm going to, at that point, I guess, head downstairs because there's,
Oh, there's a
Taken
lot
out
of
like
stuff.
a yeller?
No.
What kind of doctor are you?
taken to the hospital and such like that. Speaking of which, we should probably be calling this in.
Total aside, to anybody who cares, there's a cool fan-made Black Panther promos. I just linked them. I thought they were awesome. I saw them a few months ago.
When did they come out? A few months ago?
Yeah, this is just separate from the movie, but it's like if the Black Panther lived in our world, so it's like him on the cover of Time and stuff like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, so you guys, all right, so the doc starts heading downstairs. Let's see, Doc. Now it's Pulse. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and head downstairs too.
All right, so you're going to make your way that way. Blue.
So, Thorn is knocked down at the moment.
He's on his feet, but it was one of those things where he went through the stairs, probably and got embedded into the reinforced wall of the training range that's right there. The stairs are ruined, so you guys are going to need a ladder for the immediate future. But yeah, he's pretty messed up.
All right. Is there any way in game that we can help each other recover when we take dice damage like that?
If you have medical training, if you have powers like healing, anything like that. Right now, it looks more like he got knocked back into a wall, and now he's pissed and probably going to do something about it in a minute.
Well, for me, I am specialized in nanotechnology. Is there little nanotech bots that just kind of help you, stim patch type thing?
If you spend a competency die, I will say that you have it on you already, and you just have to apply it with a roll.
Okay, let's go ahead and burn me down a competency die. I'm gonna fly over there. Come on, champ, you can get him. Come on. He just knocked you. He just knocked you once. You've got this. You've got this.
You're a contender. You're a contender.
I used to be somebody.
So then what would I be rolling? The tech?
You would be rolling. Yeah, technology.
Oop, that's 4. Let's go back and do 3. That is 12.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thorn, you had taken a point off your fortitude. You now get that back.
All right. Yay.
He's very grateful.
It was the beer.
Hooray, beer.
It was definitely the beer.
Right.
Going now to
Instead
Thorn.
of spinach, it's, pop the beer. All of a sudden, the muscles bulk up and all.
All right. Well, I'm going to charge him and slam him through the wall. Whoa!
And what do we have for a roll?
I'm going to do that with a strength roll.
Hopefully, you're also not charging through that support column.
That support column is gone when they had their first interaction. Yeah,
Okay.
All right, let's see.
I didn't roll very well, so he'll probably just
Beer bottle took out the support column.
Yeah.
He steps aside, and not so much out of your way, but more like in your way. And as you punch, you hit the plate across his chest, and you both feel like a reverberation. It puts him back, cracks the wall behind him a little bit, but he just sits there and make an awareness roll. 1d6.
All right, I can do that.
A 2. He's very big, but you're bigger.
Well, I'm not too small of a person to admit that I had big hopes for the wrong man.
I don't know why I found that really disturbing, but you should get a competency die for it. He is going to try and grab you to pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
So now you are going to do a contest against him, his super strength against yours.
Okie dokie.
Rules question.
Thorn.
Thorn.
35. Yep.
So Thorn already used his super strength this round.
Oh wait, did you? That's right. He can't. So now you've got to either contest with some other thing.
Yeah.
He got a 35.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot I can do, so I'm probably just gonna, all right, fine, I'm gonna go for a ride, but when I get done, I'll come back and get your ass. So I'm just gonna let him tell me.
Take another competency die.
Okay.
And he actually throws you at burnout. I mean, burn up.
Mm-hmm.
Coming through.
We should have seen Ant-Man. A 15.
So I have to defend.
Yes.
I'm going to defend with flight. Basically, just trying to blast out of the way.
Go for it.
And that is a 8, 10, 19.
Very nice. Let's see. And that puts you. Nope, you're no longer there. All right. So Thorn, you fly through this column and out into the street. And that brings us back to the top of the order again. Doc, you were coming down the stairs?
Burnout's up first.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, burnout.
You just flew out of the way. Go for it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm being kind of boring, but these plasma bolts are working pretty darn well. So.
Go for it.
5. And that's a 8, 10, 16.
Damn you with your high rolls. He gets an 18,
Mm-hmm.
and The fire dances across the front of his chest, and he puts his arm up to guard his face. The wall behind him, which was cracked and brittle from him getting blasted into it initially, is now melting. So you're starting to see the outside. Off in the distance, you can see lights and sirens coming your way. So it looks like the cavalry's coming, but it might be a while till they get there. So that was for Burn Up. The Doc, what's she doing?
I am going to go. I'm going to go join this big guy fight, and
Gotcha.
so I'm going to lash out with this basically tentacles of gravity force, and wrap it around his neck and go, heal, Cujo.
Go for it.
That's a 15.
15. He sees the tendrils coming and tries to evade. And you wrap him up. So he's held, it looks like he's held by tentacles of force, but you can feel the feedback coming through these things.
Mm-hmm.
If he decides to take off, if you're tethered to him through these things.
At the moment, yes, because I am holding a leash.
You can feel through the feedback that he's giving on these things that if he decides to take off, you're going with him.
Okay.
But he's definitely restrained. His arms are pinned to his side. Doesn't look like he can do too much. So that was the Doc. We then go to Pulse.
So he's got like a wire sticking out or something?
It looks like the top half of his upper torso and the sides of his torso and his spine all look reinforced with that slick metal. But in the areas of his chest that are exposed skin, it almost looks like he's got wire grafted into his skin, like almost like the kind of wire that's prevalent in your warehouse. Not exactly, because it's much smaller. Much smaller gauge, but it's like wire is threaded through the skin.
I'm really going to regret getting up close and personal, but you know, I've got this damage aura, and he's right there with exposed wire, so it's kind of like grab a hold and just shoot the juice through it.
All right, so because you're still upstairs, right?
Yeah, but I've got the super speed, and I figure even with the stairs down, I can run down the wall and over.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. So go for it. Make your roll.
Let's see here. 10, 17.
17. He's going to try and defend with armor and gets a 15. So you zoom right past everybody, latch onto him, right? As he goes to, basically whirl around to try and get you off him, you kind of get behind him and give him a huge jolt. You hear, you feel the electricity arc, transformers outside burst from the arcing electricity, and he goes down to one knee, and he puts his head down, and you're still holding on to him. You can feel him breathing, but he's just absolutely not moving. He's kind of like in a like the pose that a track star does right before they take off from the starting blocks. He's just sitting like that, not moving. So that was Pulse. Thorn, what do you do?
Well, I'm outside the building, so I figured now might be a good time for a smoke.
Aren't you always smoking?
Apparently. I'm gonna make my way into the building. I'm gonna grab one of them great big spools of copper wiring, and I'm gonna lasso it, and I'm gonna throw it on this guy.
So you're going to hit him with one of the giant wire spools?
Yep. I'm
Go for it.
blast him with it. I don't know what I'm gonna use.
Tying him up with it, basically.
I say that's probably going to be best. The thing that makes the most sense would be my athleticism,
Okay, go for it.
which ain't good. 9, that ain't bad. I don't think it's going to do anything, but it ain't bad.
It hits him. Hits him basically straight on, right in the head.
Okay.
The spool disintegrates. The wire crumples all around him. Pulse, you need to make an athleticism check, or you need to make either athleticism or you've already used super speed this round, so you can't use that. So you're pretty much down to either reaction or athleticism to get out of the way of this wire.
You can do it.
Looks like that would be.
I'm not too big a man to admit that a person with fast speed. Oh, fuck it, just run.
That'd be 11. So.
Yep, you managed to let go of him just in time as the wire, the cable spool shatters against his face. The cable gets all tangled around him, and it blasts him into the street with a lot of the slag coming off the wall that Burnup had pushed through the wall earlier. And he hits the street in a slump.
Why didn't he move? Why didn't he move from that spot?
You don't know.
I'm asking that, just out loud.
He's not moving out in the street. He's just sitting there.
Just sitting there.
Sitting there, or is he not?
No, he's down. He's out. He's out on the street, all messed up.
What?
I shouldered him. What can I say? Sometimes it just takes a man to do the job, boys.
That was
Where
Thorn.
would we find that, Pulse?
Right here. Right
I was
here.
waiting for the female character to speak up.
I'm going to go check the sewers, since I think I was actually skipped just a second ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No
I'm sorry.
problem.
Yep. So yeah, you go to check the sewer.
Coming up from that grate.
The grate is ripped to shreds from all of the electrical activity and what have you. It looks like taped to one of the rungs for the ladder that leads down is a cell phone.
All right, cut it loose and pull it back up.
Okay. Do you guys all gather around at that area in the back of the warehouse?
I'm gathering the mooks and the bodies, all of them up, and I'm going to take my time to make certain everyone's stable while we wait for the cavalry to come and whisk them away.
The only guy that is in desperate need of medical attention and going to die very soon if that doesn't happen is this guy.
Okay. I will attempt to medically assist him.
Okay.
I suspect we have lots and lots of burn treatment on him.
What are you guys doing with the phone? Anything?
And in fact, I take him to my lab and, medical lab, and use the lab and equipment to stabilize him, since
Gotcha.
I'm not in.
Yes.
Sparrow, can you rig up something to prepare to trace
11.
whenever we hit a redial or something on this?
I want to check out what it's currently in process of, and then start trying to run a trace and such on it.
All right, go ahead and roll your technology.
Yeah.
Can we use the competency dice for our bonuses?
Yep, absolutely.
And that lets us keep the extra as well.
Yep.
That's a 14.
Okay. You set up a trap and trace, and the phone connects to a cell tower that's not too far from where you are. It's just outside of the range of the blackout. So whoever's talking to you is somewhere within the vicinity of a few streets from you. Phone picks up, and it's a female voice.
Hey, sweet mama.
It's the person says, "Are we done?"
Yeah, we're done.
Question. Does the voice sound at all similar to Ms. Kane?
Are you listening in on the call?
Yes.
It does not sound like her at all. Different timbre, a hint of an accent, though you can't. Whoever she is, she's not from this area.
Okay.
So it's not like an accent. It's more like a dialect.
Okay.
She says, and the results?
Just as you wanted.
There's a silence for a second, and she says,
I would have tried to stop him from saying that part, but I don't think I'm going to have the time, since I know she was specifically searching the database for some information.
She goes, I will be there in just a minute. Why don't you all come outside? And by you all, I mean the people that live there who are talking to me right now.
Well, I'm going to go upstairs and grab 2 beers this time before I head outside.
You head outside. How many people are going? Everybody, or just some of you?
I'm gonna grab a beer, but I'm gonna like hide in an alley on the corner there. I'm not gonna be directly obvious.
I'm going to be way obvious.
I'm going to be outside and about 100 feet up.
I would like to bulk up my presence with using basically creating a red force armor around me that looks very intimidating, and I would like to utilize that to bulk up my presence. I don't know how that would work in the system.
Do you have presence as a skill?
Yes, I do, and I have force armor, obviously.
Go ahead and do it like an assisted roll where you're trying to give yourself a competency die. I think it's a great idea, so I'm going to run with it. And go ahead and make the roll for using your powers first.
Okay. That's a 13.
Okay, which is more than the success that you needed. Now go ahead and make your presence. So and make your presence and add that extra die to it.
Okay. That's a 10.
She, what do you call it? As you guys walk out, all of a sudden, Redwall formulates this really gnarly, glowing, thick blood red construct of armor that causes a red glow to shimmer around all of you. Redwall leads into the
armor from X-Men, by the way.
I'm sorry?
Think armor from X-Men, like the girl.
Absolutely, yeah, that holographic-looking armor that she has.
This is in red versus purplish.
and all form the head.
And together we unite to form. You guys walk outside, and a black SUV pulls up. The back door opens, and
shimmer?
I'm sorry?
Does it shimmer?
You don't know. You haven't done anything to it yet.
I'm actually planning on trying to investigate their point of entry and if how our security system was compromised. I'm more interested in that right now.
Okay. As you guys walk up, you see the woman, Raven Lily, get out of the truck, shut the door, and walk over. And, she looks like she was expecting one of you, definitely not all of you, and definitely not all armored up like you are. And she nods.
With my beer. Hey.
She nods, throws a little respect your way, and says, I tell you what, it was a good try on my part. We almost pulled it off. Why don't you just let me have my people and I'll go?
Well, still sucking on my beer, I'm like, well, I'm really sorry about that, Missy, but my Aunt Rose always told me that if you do a crime, you got to do the time. So I take another swig of my bottle and put it down on the ground. So you can either come along nicely or we can get messy.
She goes, she looks around, sees the incoming police lights, which are still a good 5 to 10 minutes out.
Boy, those are pretty slow-moving cars.
Yeah, right.
I can see the lights, but it's still going to take 10 minutes. They saw the Dunkin' Donuts. They pulled over.
especially in this area. She sees the lights incoming, looks back to you, and she goes, "We don't have a lot of time. What's it going to cost?"
A date.
We don't deal with criminals and the likes of you.
I wouldn't mind like 2 full passes to opening an Ant-Man. Oh, can't do that now.
She says, "I'm sure we can work something out, but I'm not going to do it with a horde of cops." So I liked his idea of the date, and she winks at you, but when she winks, you can see that double eyelid thing happen.
That's spooky. I purposely lose my shit on purpose.
And she says, "But like I said, I'm willing to deal, but not with a horde of cops around." So
Force wall behind her.
Yeah.
Force wall around her.
Instead of doing the eye
Plasma
wink
bolt through the car.
Yeah. Instead of just an eye wink, you should have had like this big long snake tongue come out.
you you throw the force wall up to contain it. She kind of like starts to look around, looking at the wall, and he throws the plasma bolt, which dissipates the illusion, shattering the small car that had pulled up, and then she vanishes from the cage.
Which I figured, but still, had to try. She wasn't going to be dumb enough to show up herself.
I take one look at the small little contraption in the middle of the road. Probably looks like that 2-foot vehicle thingy.
It's actually probably a 6-inch pile of slag at the moment.
All right, well, I look at it, shake my head, pull another beer out of my pocket, pop it. I hate illusions. And I walk off into the dark.
The police show up. Mr. Jones, who is your liaison with the police, comes up, and he just sits. He's got this look on his face like, "What in the hell happened here?" He's like,
Ant-Man.
You missed Ant-Man?
Hey, you remembered Mr. Jones' name.
Right. I might still be able to make a midnight showing.
He goes, "I get a phone call from Allison Kane. I send a report. I'm just looking to figure out what the hell ZX5278B355 is, and all of a sudden I get this call to come down here, and you guys, the whole street is black from a power outage. Your base looks like it's got more holes than some of my socks. I mean, what the hell?"
Well, there was this guy happened, and then we got about about a dozen soldiers in there. They happened. And what did you guys find upstairs?
I sincerely doubt that you have fewer holes in your socks, Mr. Jones. You are a civil servant, after all.
He goes, "Yeah, because I make so much money to get new socks constantly." And he goes, "And what the frig is going on with Ant-Man?" And about an hour later, you guys are doing your various pursuits, and the Doc, Blue Sparrow, and Pulse are up in the command center. You've kind of tried to put things back. Some of your force powers were used to reconstruct the stairs to hold until they can get there in the morning to fix it. And
I've got a spare staircase. We just have to, let it grow back.
And I've been welding some temporary support columns back into place.
Yep, you're going to need that. But you're still left with the shirt from earlier, but also this thumb drive.
Yeah, I was about to talk to you about that. I would like to find out what the rudimentary search function on it, what it was trying to Google off our systems.
Go ahead and roll technology.
Okay, and I have access to my lab, so 1 extra die.
If Sparrow assists you, you can get another die on top of that.
Okay, I'll add 1 more die on top of that. So far, I've got 12, and let me add 1 more die. Ooh, 18. Thank you for that extra die, Brandon. Jump me by
Nice.
6.
It was actually looking for research that both you and Blue Sparrow had done, and it was digging through your files looking for research on your force wall technology combined with the technology used to make Sparrow be able to shrink down. But there's also copious amounts of notes that it was trying to extract on Pulse's energy signature, as well as it was also looking for studies on the gem that had caused Thorn to transform.
She's trying to find all our weaknesses.
It doesn't look like you don't really know what the search was for. It was basically downloading the research on all of you.
Mm-hmm.
But
was I admitted by accident or actually not?
That's what you were just thinking, because for some reason none of the search functionalities were looking at you at all.
Well,
hi, Kitty. I'm waving at the kitty. Hi, kitty.
not that it matters, but in case it comes up in your mind for some other reason, just so you know, Redwall, at least this interpretation of him, after what happened with the explosion, all of it's net locked. I put it on super old systems and locked them away in a safe. There is no way that will be on any sort of network database.
So then, if it wasn't there, then it would probably have searched for just references to your research. Okay. So it was those were the searches that it was running and that it was trying to download. Okay. All information about you, all of you, your powers, how especially combining of powers.
She could get all that shit off the deep web. Don't worry.
To form, and you what do you call it? You set the drive down into a secure case so that it can't broadcast, and so that you can still have access to study it. Mm-hmm. And as you walk away, what do you call it? There's a small icon, just kind of like beeping in the very bottom of a system, and as the screen fades to black, you keep seeing that Infinidyne symbol just spinning and spinning and spinning. And the end.
Yay! Hooray, beer!
Let's go see Ant-Man.
No, that was part of role playing. I don't want to see it.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you so much for playing in the game, and we're gonna post this up online a little bit later. I'll probably edit out the beginning when we're setting everything up, and then post it up. And then what we can do is we can. I'm also affiliated with the BAMF podcast, who does. We review comic books, role-playing games, stuff like that. We'll also do this as an audio podcast as well, so that way, if people wanted to download it, they could do that as well. But thank you very much for coming out, guys. I really apprate it.
You're welcome.
Had lots of fun. It's the one next session.
Right?
So, hey, Walt, seeing as you're a big comic book person, Convergent, love it, hate it.
Convergence, that's the DC one. I'm not a big DC guy. Most of my experience with DC comes when somebody says, "Hey, I got this trade. Read it."
Notice based on your background.
I'm sorry?
I noticed based on your background.
Yeah. I just thought I'd ask because it basically it trashes Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now it never happened, and now the multiverse is back. Yay.
Gotcha. But what I can do, though, if you guys did want to do another session of this and then create your own characters, blah, 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 we're going to be doing one of these twice a month. So I can put you guys on the list. J Sweet and Chris are actually... they're actually on the list already because they are backers to the Kickstarter, so they're auto-entered. But if you guys wanted to do this again, just send me all your email addresses, My website's hazardstudio.net, so you just go on the website. My email's right up there. Just send me all your email addresses. We'll put it to the list. And if you wanted to do this with original characters and stuff like that, we can make that work.
I just gave you mine, because I'm not proud. I'll give it to anybody.
Could you type out your URL, please?
Sure. I'll put it right in the chat window.
Thank you much.
Yep. I got no standards. I'll give you my email.
So, but yeah, just send me an email, and then we'll set another one of these up. And if you guys wanted to, do you guys all have copies of the rulebook?
Only the old edition.
Yeah, I have the old edition, but pretty sure we're getting the new one.
Yeah, send me your emails, and if you don't have the new one, I'll send it to you. And we can do this again real soon.
Sounds great.
Sounds awesome.
All right, I'm going to stop the broadcast. That's going to basically kick everybody out, but it'll auto-upload in a little while, and I'll send you guys all a link.
Hey, Walt, thank you so much for a great game. It was a lot of fun and one of the best that I've played in Hangout.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry it got off to a slow start.
Went well.
All right, we'll see you guys in a bit.
Alice says night.
Hey, have fun, guys.
And thank you.
What do y'all?